Hey, look. I know you're attracted to me. Why deny the obvious?
It's obvious.
Yeah, sure. Little goody two-shoes with an Ivy League education are always attracted to galaxy-hopping bad boys like me.
My Ivy League education taught me to steer clear from bad boys like you.
Yeah, well, you're not gonna find better than me on the market. Straight up. Take a good look. Handsome, intelligent,
Modest,
brave,
suicidal,
determined,
pig-headed,
faithful.
to yourself.
Yeah, and to you. You're my partner.
Yeah, don't forget it.
Hello and welcome to Comic Book Movie Oblivion, the podcast about feature films based on comic books and comic strips that people have stopped talking about. We are your hosts, Jordan and Kumar, that's me.
And me.
And this week we're talking about Valerian and Laureline, the French pilote series. I got some angry emails from Spiro fans saying, why don't you guys ever do any Spiro? No, we'll get there eventually. I know we've only been doing pilote. Okay, so we've got a movie from 2017, but we've got this comic series by... written by Pierre Christin and with art by Jean-Claude Mézières.
I didn't look up the pronunciation this week, so we'll go with that.
I meant to do that, and I didn't do it. Started in 1967, as I mentioned, in Pilote, and ran until 2010. They did 21 albums. I think both those guys passed away around like 2021, 22, around there. Not too long ago.
Right.
There was a 2007 cartoon that lasted for 40 episodes.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That didn't come up. I didn't do much work on the comic, honestly. I mostly just focused on the film this week.
And Gary Newman, apparently in his origins, was going by the name Valerian. Like in the early days, that was his stage name, taken from the comic. And I don't know if you remember that Angus McKee comic in heavy metal that you didn't like called So Beautiful and So Dangerous about the people.
Yeah.
There were apparently a bunch of swipes from the Ambassador of the Shadows storyline.
I believe
panels swiped.
Yeah.
And
I believe it.
I'm jumping way ahead, but Mézières wrote a letter to heavy metal complaining about it.
Good. Because that comic sucked, and Ambassador of the Shadows is fucking amazing.
Well, I did like So Beautiful and Amazing, but and McKee acknowledged that he had swiped.
Wow, he did. Wow,
he did admit. I don't think heavy metal did anything about it, but McKee admitted to it.
So sorry. Good. Oh, that's a good story. I like that.
Yeah. Okay, so what can we say about it? All right, it's about these two, what are called spatio-temporal agents.
Yes.
Valerian, who is of the time, which is the year 2750 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And Laureline, who is originally from the Middle Ages. Yeah.
But that goes out the window immediately.
It's just forgotten about.
You just forget about it.
Yeah, it's just dismissed. But she's in the very first storyline. She, Valerian goes back in time on some mission because somebody else has gone back in time. It's a bit like Time Cop.
Yeah. She rescues him from trouble and joins him, and then she has to go back to the future with him.
Yeah.
Because at that point they have some kind of non-intervention. They've got like a prime directive, temporal prime directive.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
And so she has to go back to the future with him, and she just immediately. First of all, I think he hypno-trains her with. Oh, that sounds a bit sleazy.
Well, no, actually, this is a cool thing in this series I actually like. When he goes back in time, he has to go into this, hypno machine so he can learn the lingo of the time, and he has clothes and all this kind of stuff. They actually cover a lot of stuff that is not covered in other...
Yes.
I mean, the first thing you think of is Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Because he picked up a couple of...
They stopped doing time adventures pretty quickly, I think.
Yes.
Certainly the later ones we read, they're not doing a lot of... They're mostly flying around the cosmos.
Yeah.
Encountering aliens and strange worlds. Strange, fantastical worlds.
Yeah.
Fantastic planets, you might say.
Yes. Yes.
But, I mean, everybody talks about this comic. It's amazingly kind of influential.
Yeah.
We don't hear about it here, but in Europe, this is a big deal. This comic,
yes.
And originating so many tropes and being so incredibly influential. Kind of like it's kind of like the comics equivalent of new wave science fiction. So while Le Guin and Zelazny and Philip K. Dick and people like that are writing this amazing new soft humanities driven science fiction. in Europe, you've got these two kind of doing the same
they
kind
were
of thing.
absorbing that science.
Well, that's it. They picked it up. They picked it up when they travelled to America, both of them.
Yeah.
I think one of them just actually worked on ranches, right?
That was Mézières. So Mézières was it didn't have the correct visa. He didn't realize he was like only allowed to work in one state or something, but he was going all over the place and then didn't realize he wasn't supposed to be working. He was trying to pick up odd jobs, but he was working on ranches some of that time. Yeah.
Yeah. So they both they absorbed that science fiction, came back, started writing this great, progressive, interesting stuff, which then allegedly filters back into American popular culture.
Yeah.
Most notoriously in the case of Star Wars, as I found out.
Yeah.
I wonder if he wrote a letter to George Lucas. I think he did, actually.
There was a funny comment on the Wikipedia page where I think Christin said something about what he said when he saw Star Wars.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the comment was, but it was really funny.
They thought they'd swiped, basically, that you could make a case that there's some influence from Star Wars.
Well, you know what? Frank Herbert said the exact same thing when he was sitting in Star Wars. But that's kind of the great thing about Star Wars, I think, is it's like the Kill Bill of science fiction from 1977. It's just everything's in there.
This is true. So,
but definitely, 100%, there's some visuals, and in the Cinebook volumes, English editions, they've got like side-by-side pictures.
Panels, side-by-side panels and shots from the movie, which actually, it is drawing a pretty long bow. But nonetheless, it doesn't undermine the fact that this was a big, kind of like a real trend-setting, genre-setting book.
Yeah.
Now, reading it now, you can you think, oh, well, maybe you think a bit, what's the big deal? I've heard these stories before. But they were telling them for the first time then.
Yeah.
So I'd heard of this, and I'd actually tried to read it before.
Right. Yes, we tried to prep this for an episode of Deconstructing Comics many years ago before we started this podcast.
Yes.
And somehow we were...
Well, I read... It's because... Well, yeah. One thing is because I tried to read it from the start.
Yeah.
Anyone listening, don't do that.
Right.
Don't read the first comic.
Right.
Because it sucks.
Yeah, it's a bit clumsy. They're not sure what they're doing.
They don't know what they're doing, and it's really silly, and the art isn't very good, and everyone looks like they're in Asterix and Obelix.
Yes, we should say that Mézières draws in a Bigfoot kind of style, so he's got a very cartoony...
He tightens it up later on, though.
Oh, yeah.
And the art gets good.
Environments are really, especially... I mean, the characters remain cartoony. It's, I guess, the Tintin kind of approach.
And with these comics, you don't have to read them in order because they're just having episodic adventures. So for the love of God, start in the middle.
Yeah.
Start in the 70s. Don't start in 1967 with whatever that story is where it's got like a wizard and he's turning people into gargoyles.
Yeah.
And the gargoyles look really silly, like cartoony.
Yeah. I don't think it's all bad.
Well, maybe not, but it completely turned me off because I'd heard all this stuff. You know, I'd heard about how it's this incredible trend-setting book with wonderful art and great kind of like new wave style science fiction stories about fantastical Jack Vancian style worlds and things like that. Then I open it up and he's hanging around in the Middle Ages with a warlock.
Yeah.
Like, what? Yeah. And I think I got discouraged by that, and then we sort of never got off the ground.
Yeah. I think that's another thing that's kind of Doctor Who-y about it. A little bit.
Oh.
You end up in the past, you're just running around with Aztecs or something for 8 episodes.
I can see why they abandoned the time travel kind of thing.
Wasn't there a Doctor Who barbarian girl...
Yeah, Leela,
that's right, yeah. So she's a little bit like that, except she immediately dumps the Leela persona and is like...
Yeah. It's completely unimportant.
She becomes a full spatio-temporal agent, just
she's a
like
complete peer and equal to Valerian.
Yes.
It's funny, it's a little silly, a little irreverent. Valerian is always getting into trouble and has to get bailed out by
and
Laureline
she tends to oppose him a lot of the time. It's interesting. I got a quote here from Mézières' Comics Journal interview. This is from 1986.
Excellent.
And I just want to read this little bit about... Well, I guess I should lead in by saying the strip is a little bit maybe leftist. Maybe there's some... They were getting letters of complaint from readers that it was too political, which is hard to...
It's funny. Well, because it doesn't read that way to us because we live in 2025. But I can imagine.
But there's kind of just there's kind of an edge to it a little bit. Like there's all this capitalism going on and money changing hands. Things are just kind of happening in little corners of the dialogue that you kind of notice after a while.
Yeah. Ambassador of the Shadows, I'd say, has a pretty kind of anti-militarist, anti-bureaucratic message. There's what's the one? Something about the Equinox, Travelers of the Equinox, or something like that. The one that comes after Ambassador of the Shadows. So amazing.
Yeah.
Valentine and Laureline go to this world where everyone is old, and it turns out that they only have one generation of children born every 100 years or something.
Right.
And what happens is a champion goes to the island of children, mysteriously stays there for a while, and then ships come back full of kids.
Yeah.
So, and now this time, for the first time ever, this world has opened up this championship to the outside cosmos. So people from other planets could come. And these 3 champions come, and they're 3 political kind of like extremists.
Right. Okay.
One's kind of like like Thor. He's like the mighty Thor. He's got a magic sword. He's like a fascist. He's talking all about manifest destiny and virility and the importance of blood and all this stuff. And then there's this kind of like he's communist basically. So he's like this big huge dude
Right.
with chains and he just talks in Marxist patois.
Right.
It's really funny. And then the third guy's kind of like this hippie, and he has nature powers.
Right.
And then there's
Right.
and then there's Valerian, who's kind of like a bit hapless.
Right. Yes. Yes.
And of course, and then there's these amazing full page splashes where he's split the pages into 4 rows, and each of the heroes is having a different adventure along each of the rows, and the art is amazing. Valerian ends up on the island, and of course, the final challenge is they have to say what they imagine the future of the planet's going to be like. And of course, the ideologues all spew out their ideology, how they're going to take over the universe with their particular brand of totalitarianism. And Valerian's like, I don't know, they can just do what they want, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, he's very wishy-washy in that way.
So she picks him, of course, the giant lady on the island that he then has mysterious coitus with. And all the babies who are they're diverse, they don't look anything like Valerian. All the babies end up showing up, and Laureline has to come and rescue him, and it turns out he's been shrunk down to about 3 inches tall, and he's been sent to live with all the other progenitors in like a meadow just to bail him out. It's just all this craziness.
Yeah.
I just love it so much. It was incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah, political.
Yeah. So Gary Groff asks the question, how would you characterize the political content of Valerian? How was it integrated into the story? Mézières. So Mézières and Christin, Mézières, though he was the artist, he's actually credited first, at least on the Cinebook editions, and they would hash out the stories together.
Yeah.
And he says it was a deliberately political story from the start. As I said, we never knew what we would be doing. We knew damn well from the beginning what we would not be doing. We would not have a hero. We would not have a savior of the free world. We would not have the man who fights against the bad ones. We would not have bad ones. We have no bad guys and good guys. We just had the testimony of somebody. He was a witness. Valerian has always been some sort of witness of some weird affair, and he had a little something to do with it. He did not even know for sure that he had to do it that way, and Laureline was most of the time opposed to what he would be doing. Okay. The construction of the personality of Laureline has become more and more important because she was a strong opponent of Valerian's actions. And Groff says, what do you find politically offensive about the concept of a hero? Mézières says, it's fascism.
Great.
Comics have been swamped with fascism or right-wing heroes from the start, and we've tried to do something a little bit different. Once again, it was just an experiment, and we've created a hero who is not much of a hero.
Fantastic quote. Oh, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Laureline becomes sort of like a foil to him. He will tend to solve whatever the issue of the day is, usually by bumbling kind of a bit through it.
Yeah.
But she will always have to rescue him first.
Right.
She'll rescue him and then kind of stand back, and then he does some kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
It's a really cool dynamic. And people really dug it. Like 40 years, I mean, the book ran for pretty much, didn't it?
Yeah.
A little longer than 40
That's right.
years, actually.
So, Ambassador of the Shadows was from 1975. It was the 6th album. They actually start the numbering, and you'll like this, they start the numbering from the second one.
Yeah.
So that first one was numbered 0.
Good.
It's actually got a number 0 on it. They don't even really count it.
And it wasn't in album format. I think it was sort of more...
That's right. The pages they didn't have the right number of pages or something.
No.
There's some story behind that. So this is set in a kind of space civilization called Point Central.
Yes.
Which started as a little blip, a cell they call it, a small cell, and then all these other cells grew up around it. All these other aliens came to this place. And
they say cells. I mean, that's deliberately organic terminology, but it's constructed. Essentially,
yes,
it's buildings.
That's right.
And each building looks a little different, so it's a real hodgepodge of different types of architecture. Different aliens leave a different mark on it, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually it's just filled with all the riffraff of the cosmos.
Yes. And it's become so complicated that, like, there's cells that you can't get to. They were there like 1 million years ago, and people don't know how to get to them, or all these little corners, nooks, and crannies.
Archaeological object, and also it has separate environments within it.
Yeah.
So some environments will be inaccessible to human beings because they'll have a
different gravity, no oxygen, or something.
Or some of them are entirely filled with liquid, so things that breathe water. And others will have an incredibly high temperature, incredibly low temperature. It's just great.
Yeah.
All of this sounds what's so exciting about this? But this is like 1975. This is a kind of
and there's so many. We get descriptions of so many aliens that live here. It's just an array, like a battery of one after the next, panel after panel. Here's these types of aliens. These are the psychologists.
These guys,
or these guys are the builders, or these guys
run
are the
accounts
religion.
Of everybody.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
And we learned that they have a rotating council. They don't really have a leader. They have these councils that take turns, and they're all from different alien species.
Yeah.
Now suddenly,
it's humanity's turn.
That's right.
Now they get to be on the council.
Our heroes show up. They've brought an ambassador along who's a kind of stuffy older guy who's a bit mean to them and won't actually describe exactly what their mission is. They're supposed to be bodyguarding this guy as they escort him to take over the council. And when they finally confront this guy in his cell, he's like, don't call the base yet, like whatever. He's like, I have this plan. We're going to implement a police force. Or he doesn't call them police. He says we're going to have like he says they're going to create a federation.
Yeah. He's got
of which we would be the cornerstone, and Valerian says and the police.
Yeah. Valerian's very mistrustful of all this as the free spirit he is. But this guy, he's got big plans.
Yes.
He's going to impose order.
Yes.
This opportunity with this humanity's rotating chair on this security council of this particular space station, he's got big ambitions.
Yeah.
They're going to bring some good old-fashioned Terran order.
That's right. And he's planning to keep control. And he says... numerous people unconsciously long for our action, which sounds like a lot of what I hear going on every day at the moment.
Yep. That's
people want this. People want us to send the army in and take over.
That's it.
Is what he's saying. So, in order to do their mission, because there's thousands, tens of thousands of these cells of all different cultures. They've all got different currency. My favorite part of the story is introduced right on page 3 or 4. It's a grumpy transmuter from Bluxta. And this is a little creature.
It's a bit like an armadillo.
Yes, it looks like an armadillo. And you feed it a thing, and whatever you feed it, it shits it out.
Yep.
Like 1 million, however many you want. But it's got an energy limit. Like, it can get tired out. Like, it can run out.
It's not,
So you can't abuse it. And this thing was very difficult to get. They had to go down to send the army to some planet for like 6 months and search through the jungle or something to get this one grumpy transmuter from Bluxta.
This is like, this is like their funds. You know, the grumpy transmuter is like their funding for this.
Yeah.
It's very, you can't stuff around with this, you know, you need to sign for everything.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Yeah, so you put something in its mouth and then it produces an endless variety of that. So
there's some hilarious panels of it these things popping out its butt. It's really funny.
It's really, and it's funny too because it's grumpy.
Yeah.
Luckily, it takes a shine to Laureline, but it's such a funny thing. But it basically turns energy into matter.
Yes.
And you provide the template.
Yes.
So because when it gets tired out, she sticks it in the ship's engines to absorb.
That's right. Yeah.
To absorb more energy.
Yeah.
It's such a cool concept.
Yeah. So they go down to the docking bay, and they're in there, and there's a podium set up for this ambassador to make a speech. And it looks a lot like, when the Emperor arrives on, like, the Death Star, and he's greeted.
It sure does.
But as soon as they arrive, they're attacked by these mercenaries. And these mercenaries use these kind of guns that form cocoons around.
Yeah. Cocoon guns.
Cocoon guns, yeah. That people are stuck in for like 50 hours. Like they can't get out before that, although Laureline immediately gets out of hers somehow. Now, Valerian wasn't hit by one of these cocoon guns, so he goes chasing after. They abduct, whoever the mercenaries are, they abduct the ambassador. Valerian goes chasing after him. He jumps off into space and he hitches a ride on some spaceship, which seems to be flying off into space. That becomes a bit confusing later on, but we'll get back to that. I think this Point Central is very big. Maybe so big that you fly off into space.
Oh yeah, it's a big dumb object. It's like Rama.
Yeah.
It's like Gateway from Frederick Pohl. It's one of these big dumb objects that you can just explore infinitely.
Yes.
Or the Ring World.
Yeah. So Valerian's taken off. Laureline is left behind. She gets out of her sticky goo cocoon, and she meets the protocol officer who was there to like have a feast for the ambassador.
Well, that's all he cares about. He only cares about the feast.
And the protocols. He's like, we gotta save the ambassador. This is his
It's funny thing is he seems to be in charge of every... He seems to be in charge of the Terran contingent.
Yeah.
Now that the ambassador's gone, but all he cares about is the banquet and the games.
Yes. Yes.
And he's very reluctantly dragged into all these adventures.
Yeah.
With Laureline. She has to roams Point Central looking for...
That's right. Yeah.
Looking for Valerian. She has to put a jellyfish on her head.
Yeah. Yeah.
She has to buy information from these three little kind of like winged
Yes,
bipeds.
they're called Shingos. Shingos, and they are very much like they're the Watto.
Yeah, they're like Watto.
They're like Watto.
That's
they're
a flattering comparison. They're way
guys
cooler
with
than
a big
Watto,
snouts and wings. They're cooler, but all they care about is transactions. So they're a bit like Ferengi too.
Yeah.
They just want money for their information.
Well, they're information brokers.
That's right.
I get much more of an impression of them being just information dealers, and they won't even tell you. They won't tell you a damn thing until you pay them. They remind me of the Mel Normay from Star Control 2. There's a reference.
Right.
So eventually, she does catch up with Valerian. He's been kidnapped by the...
Well, we don't know the name of that race. They've stopped using a name. But first, so she ends up going through... She goes from one contact to the next. So they're like, okay, you need to go see the... I think the Kameniks? Because those guys are mercenaries as well. So they might know something about the other mercenaries that kidnapped the ambassador.
Yeah.
So she goes to meet these Kameniks, and the Kameniks are like centaurs.
Yes.
And she's basically put in like this Mongolian football game where she's the soccer ball, and every time she meets someone...
That's the way they greet guests.
That's right.
With a big contest. And I think what happened was it was a race to see who could drag her to the king the fastest.
Right.
And whoever dumped her in front of the king the fastest was the winner of the game.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
Yeah. And they're like, okay, so every time she meets someone like the
jellyfish, the Kameniks,
all the guys she has to, or what were the Wattos, whatever they were called.
Those guys.
She feeds a little bit to her grumpy transmitter.
They all want something.
They have one coin that their currency is, and she feeds one, and the thing poops out a whole ton, however many, like 500 of them.
It's great, and she's just spending cash willy-nilly.
Yes, but it's getting tired and grumpier.
It's great.
It's running out of energy.
This is the body that's supposed to bankroll the Terran takeover of the station, and she's just blowing it on trying to find Valerian. It's really good.
Yes.
She just has no chill.
Yeah.
She needs to get a disguise so that she can infiltrate the mercenary camp.
Yeah, so this is the centaurs say, okay, you need to go find the Bagulans, because some of my people saw those Bagulans hanging out at the Sufus. So go to the Sufus.
Yep.
Go to the Sufus people, and then you can find out where the Bagulans are hanging out.
That's it.
So she goes to Sufus, which is like a pleasure dome.
Yeah.
She goes in there, it's like idyllic, and it's like people are landing. She's like tempted to actually hang out and have sex with these dudes.
Well, they won't let her in unless she buys access to a...
That's right, and she actually has to pass through Mos Eisley first. You know, so you have to go through the cantina first to get to this place.
Yeah.
And
she gets in, and it's a Greek kind of like idyll, and there are these guys wearing togas, incredibly ripped guys.
Yeah, and she's like tempted to like... Kind of like, maybe I should hang out for a bit, but she
pushes him off and says, "No, I'm here for a purpose. I need to know where these bullers are." And the Greek Adonis dissolves into this blob, essentially this protoplasmic blob, he says, yeah, we can take you to them, but, we shouldn't really do that. And she's like, well, is there anything you want? They need this drug.
The soma pills.
Drugs. Yep, soma pills. They need soma pills. And of course, so she pops a soma pill in the mouth of the grumpy translator.
The transmuter. From Buckstuff.
And then also, the transmuter tends to be ever so slightly affected by whatever you put in it. So the centaurs wanted berserker drugs or something.
Right.
So he gets grumpy and bites her finger.
Yeah.
And then after she gives it the soma pill, which is like an aphrodisiac, it starts kissing her.
Right.
it's just fun.
Yeah.
Then one of the blobs, in order to go into the meeting with these mercenaries, they won't just let anybody in. In fact, they won't tolerate the presence of anyone that's not one of them. So she has to get inside one of the blobs, and it takes the shape of a female version of one of these monsters. Anyway, they're all like slapping her on the ass. And
She goes in here. She hears a story from the storyteller who tells the story about how the Valerian ambassador was dropped into this pool and then taken away in a spaceship by another race.
This is great. These aliens just start partying at the end of a successful mission, and already the mission has become myth, and the storytellers start talking.
The storyteller's already telling the legend of the capture of these two beings.
Such a fun detail.
Yeah. So this race that took them away were called the Grubos. So I'd say the translator did a good job coming up with all these names. I don't know what they were in French.
I think maybe they were probably the same.
Maybe, yeah. So they get they get in a ship and they get in a submarine and they go underwater. These Grubos are like big hippopotamuses, like giant, like big mammals that underwater.
They know everything because they have these symbiotes.
Yes,
jellyfish,
psychic jellyfish symbiotes that like attach to their heads, and they're like, well, you got to. Our mission for Laureline is she has to steal one of these and put it on her head so she can know what the psychic knew about what happened with Valerian. Very cool scene where she only has 10 seconds or something to get this information before it explodes. Right, she slaps this big translucent jellyfish on her head. She has this vision of Valerian being transferred to another ship.
Yep.
By the way, Valerian hasn't been in the story for about 30 pages at this point.
Yep.
It's just her running around. She meets a fisherman. Now she's like, well, how am I going to find this? So she meets a fisherman. The fisherman's like, well, you got to go to the Narf Dreamers.
Yep.
And she's like, the Narf Dreamers will you can go into the dreams of like another person, or when you're dreaming, you can go in the mind of another person. She's like, okay, she goes to the Narf Dreamers. She pays this fisherman, and she sees where Valerian is, and he has escaped with the ambassador. They've been taken to some planet, which is like a beach world with like this tribe on it, like a tribal race. And they're like, we were here, we were the first cell.
Yeah. So this is one of those, this is a pretty familiar trope.
Yeah.
They seem primitive, but actually they're the opposite. They're like the Organians from Errand of Mercy. Fascinating.
Yeah.
They just say, like the ambassador's telling him, like, oh yeah, we're gonna take over.
Yeah.
You guys can back me, because you got no choice. You guys are just hanging out on a beach. He goes, well, we're not as primitive as we look, and your armada, because it turns out there's a Terran armada that's coming into enforce.
10,000 ships, which the ambassador has brought along, much to Valerian's surprise.
Yes. The people, the shadows, as they call themselves, say, well, we've positioned 10,000 black holes directly in front of your 10,000 ships.
Yeah.
So they're not coming.
Yeah.
And in fact, you're going to get kicked off Point Central.
But they make them go into this like hut for some sort of ceremony which will pacify them. Brainwash them into being pacifists.
Yeah.
So...
And it works on the ambassador, but Valerian and Laureline just seem mostly unaffected. I think Valerian...
She doesn't go in there. She shows up. She manages to go through all the tunnels of this huge Point Central and find this world, which is the number one cell and has a sky overhead. Yeah. But it seemed like Valerian was flying to another planet earlier when the ambassador was elected. Anyway,
well, it's a planet at the that can be a vacuum in the middle of the station. It has every environment.
That's true. That's true.
And it's a bit Vancian, things don't have to make perfect sense.
But she gets there just as those guys are coming out of their hut experience.
Valerian is actually barely changed.
That's right.
Because he's just such a chill
In fact,
dude.
he makes some sarcastic comment to her, which is like, don't worry, I can take care of myself. I didn't need you to show up. And then he's like, why are you miffed? As she's walking.
So the ambassadors are pacifist now, but it's too late, and humans get kicked off Point Central for 100 years.
Yeah.
For their transgressions.
Yeah. So she's like, we got to get everybody out of here quick. So she uses the 10,000 ships to evacuate all the humans off of Point Central.
Yep.
Because I think, were they being threatened in some way?
Yeah, they had like a month or something to get off.
Before they were going to blow up their cell or something like that.
Before they were going to blow them up.
Yeah, right.
That's right. So Laureline just organises a mass exodus using the 10,000 ships.
Right.
Very, very typical Laureline behaviour.
Right.
She's very organised. She gets shit done.
Yeah. So the first Valerian and Laureline story was called City of a Thousand Planets. So you might be tricked into thinking that this movie, which came out in 2017, was based on that storyline.
You might be tricked into thinking that.
But it's not.
We were tricked.
It's based on Ambassador of the Shadows.
Yeah. And just use the name City of a Thousand Planets because it's way cooler.
It is cooler.
It's a cooler name.
It fits.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I like that Laureline's name was taken out of the title.
Yeah, well, originally the comic was just called Valerian, but they added Laureline, Valerian and Laureline pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It's a shame that but I mean, the title's pretty bloody long already.
Yes, that is true as well.
And if you called it Valerian and Laureline and the City of a Thousand Planets, or if you just called it Valerian and Laureline, people would have, I don't think, the committee wouldn't have liked that that name.
Yeah,
been, where's the buzz?
This is all
where's
true.
the rise of the Silver Surfer?
Yes,
now?
which leads to this movie's in English. So this is directed by Luc Besson.
Well, like last week's movie.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, who else could have directed this movie? I mean, good or bad, we'll talk about that as we get through it. But I can't imagine any other director
the guy that
could have done this.
The guy that did The Fifth Element.
Which was a lot of... Mézières did a ton of design work on The Fifth Element, as did Mobius.
Yes. In fact, Mézières supposedly said to Luc Besson when they were working together on it, he said, "Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
You should be doing Valerian and Laureline."
Yeah.
And Luc Besson was like, "Yeah."
I think he didn't have the tech.
Well, that's what he says.
He says that until Avatar came out, which, I mean, you can see its fingerprints all over this movie.
Oh, absolutely. We'll get into that, though.
Yeah.
That's the official story. He says, like, I always wanted to do Valerian and Laureline. He said, I used to read it when I was 10 years old. I used to go down to the shops every week to buy my copy and read it. He said I would read it and then put it away for an hour.
Right.
And just...
Yeah.
let the anticipation build.
Right.
And he's, again, so like... just really wanted to make that movie. But he said his official story is that he just didn't think that there was the tech.
Yeah.
It makes a good story. I don't know if I believe it.
Yeah, I mean, look at Fifth Element, it was pretty advanced. Those cityscapes, the taxi scenes were...
He's also said that he had a script.
Okay, this is my question, because I believe often is the case with Luc Besson movies. I think Fifth Element, I'm not sure, somebody out there can correct me, Fifth Element and Lucy and this were all movies he wrote when he was like 15.
Oh, really?
Right? Am I wrong about
I didn't find that, but but I do know that he definitely had a script.
Okay.
So despite this story, I didn't even think about it until Avatar came out. He also said in another interview I read that he threw out the script he already had when Avatar came out.
Sure, okay.
Because he's like, well...
Yeah, okay.
I'm just going to... This is too much like Avatar.
Okay.
Which is funny to read in retrospect, because as you already hinted, this film owes a pretty big debt to Avatar in some ways.
Yeah. Okay. So, came out in 2017. We get a pretty good opening montage. I quite liked it.
This opening's so good.
Yeah.
It's so great.
It's like 2030. 2030, there's this... The International Space Station is being expanded. And then we, jump ahead. 2150. We get all these different races from around the world.
First of all, we get the PRC, like a Chinese shuttle approaches the International Space Station, or a Chinese space station approaches the International Space Station. This is such a great sequence, and it's very Valerian and Laureline.
Yeah.
They connect, a door opens, the Chinese astronauts come in, shake hands with the American or the international.
And there's no gravity in this stage, 2031, right?
Then more people show up.
Yeah.
As you said, we advance the timeline a couple of decades.
That's right. It's like a whole other space station is connecting, docking with it.
And we see a mixed crew of the international crew and the Chinese crew now welcoming this new group onto the station. Move the timeline.
We get Arabs, we get Japanese, we get all sorts
of sub-Saharan Africans.
Yes.
And costumes are getting stranger and more elaborate.
Yep.
Artificial gravity is introduced.
The guy that's shaking their hands is like getting more and more of these big like stars, like for his rank on his
the uniform changes. It's such a good. This felt so much like the comics. I loved it. I thought, wow.
I really was enjoying this.
I'm so into this. And they've got Space Oddity by David Bowie playing over it, which is really cool.
Yep.
Incidentally, these guys shaking hands are often cameos.
Okay.
So French director cameos.
Oh, right. Okay.
At least 2 are French directors.
Okay.
One of whom is Louis Leterrier, who directed Hulk.
Yeah, right.
The Incredible Hulk, 2008.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, the Ed Norton one.
Yeah.
Which I think is technically an MCU film.
It is an MCU, 100%.
So it's out, 100%?
100%. Iron Man shows up in it.
He does in the end. In a post-credit sequence, yes. Yeah. Let's not split hairs. Yeah, so that was amusing to me.
Yeah. And then
aliens start showing
2150, the first alien starts showing up, and now we get all these kooky aliens that come in. Really, some of these are great designs.
Crazy
like ones that are like robots, kind of like with liquid.
Well, they're jellyfish, and those I think are their...
that's right, yeah.
They're like a canister with a jellyfish living in it, in a spindly robot body. There's, big leonine-looking hunter predator type aliens. Yeah. There's huge squarish dudes that wearing big bulky exosuits, looking a bit like the ones from The Fifth Element, actually.
Yes.
Except these ones leave goo on your hands when you shake hands with them.
That's right.
And the station, we see it getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And now it's so big that it's starting to affect Earth's
now
tides.
we get a title card that says 400 years in the future. Suddenly there's a jump. And we get the president of the Earth, which is Rutger Hauer.
It's Rutger Hauer!
In one scene.
Rutger Hauer's second appearance on the podcast, he was in Sin City.
Holy shit, you're right.
Cardinal Rock.
Yes. Oh my god, I forgot.
So they've dug him out of his retirement home, because maybe he's like dead a year later.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking that, actually, as I was watching.
And he's really old, and this is clearly just like an afternoon's...
Yeah.
But,
and of course he's in the Batman Begins as well.
Yes, he is.
So he's a person of interest.
He'll
shit, he's going to hit 3.
He will hit 3.
Holy shit, okay.
Yeah, which is great, because I obviously love Rutger Hauer.
Of course.
And so does Luc Besson, massive fan of Blade Runner, and so getting him as a cameo in this was a big tick in the old checklist for Besson.
Yeah, of course.
That's why he's here.
Yeah. He's only in this one scene. And he basically announces to camera that the gravity of this thing is too big and it threatens the Earth, so they're just going to shoot the whole massive star base off into space.
Yep. Where it's just going to go explore the new frontiers, seek out new life and new civilizations.
And now we get our title card, like 5 minutes in. By the way, the credit for the comic is based on the comic book series Valerian and Laureline by Jean-Claude Mézières and Pierre Christin.
Is that in the introductory?
In both.
Oh yeah, it's in the
beginning and end. I don't think we've ever seen it twice before.
And it also mentions the publisher in the end.
Yeah, by Dargaud or whatever it is.
It's another unusual touch.
Might have been in the contract or something.
I'm sure it was.
Oh, so now we get 400 years later. So it's 400 years after it's been shot into space. Now we get this planet Mule. Doesn't matter.
Mule.
Okay, this is a...
M-U umlaut L.
That's right.
Mule.
Planet Mule. Okay, this is the Avatar planet.
Yeah,
so,
boy, is it the Avatar planet.
But I have to say...
Fantastic Planet. Did it remind you of Fantastic Planet?
It did remind me a bit of Fantastic Planet. We got these people that look like Avatar characters, but they look pretty good. Like, I was surprised. I complain about CGI every week on the show, and how whenever you have a humanoid walking around, the movement's too smooth. I think these are people that have been modified, or...
They're mocapped.
They're mocapped. But it looks pretty good, I think.
I'm not sure, because sometimes... Yeah, I completely agree, because sometimes I'm thinking, well, this person's clearly... This is a clearly CGI, because this person's waist is too thin to be a human. Yeah. But then they'll cut to just some schlubby-looking bloke.
Yeah.
Like, he's got a bit of a gut.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, this is just a man in makeup, right? No, apparently they were all CG'd. But,
right, okay.
But But they're pretty uninspiring, given the kinds of other aliens we've seen already.
Yes.
These ones
that
just
is true.
look like people.
But they look a bit like the tribe on the beach at the end of the comic.
They do.
And they are living on a beach world. These people living on a beach world, this girl wakes up in the morning, she has one of these grumpy transmuters as a pet, sort of, and she goes to wash in this pile of beads.
Yeah.
Like this, she's got a
big
sink full of these beads that she just washes over her face.
Rubs them on her face.
And then she goes out, and we see that these people are harvesting these beads out of the ocean.
Seems to be all they do.
Yeah. But then they put a bead into the transmuter, which I think is called the converter in the movie.
Yeah.
And it poops out a bunch. We never get to see it come out of the butt. And then they put those into like a big kind of ceremonial urn thing on the ground. Now
it looks like a hole in the ground, frankly.
Yeah. Okay. Immediately I'm like, okay, so they're pulling hundreds of thousands of these things out of the sea. Why do they need to use the transmuter to make more?
Yep.
Can't they just put some they got from the sea? Can't they put 10 from the sea into the ground instead of putting them through the transmuter?
There's no shortage of these beads. There doesn't seem to be a need for the converter. Yeah, I think this is a problem. I don't think that the converter needs to be from Mule at all.
Yeah,
I think it's a failing.
Yeah.
One of many, unfortunately. Besson, I don't think this film's particularly well written.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what it looked like before he panicked and threw it out when Avatar came out. But yeah, this is... Why? When they clearly have no trouble getting these beads.
No.
They have more than they could ever use.
I thought, is this a special bead that like... They found one of the A1 beads, and that's the one they have to put in. But it's just a regular bead.
It's just a regular bead, which they call pearls, which is also
the name of the race.
The race, they're also called pearls, which is a bit confusing.
Very confusing. Okay, so by the way, we don't get almost any dialogue. They're speaking alien languages. A few
they just say
lines
Minoi Ne over and over and over.
Yeah. Okay, but then suddenly there's fires in the sky.
Yeah.
And there's some kind of war going on. We don't know if the planet's being attacked or what, but all these giant starships are starting to crash into this idyllic world that doesn't have that level of technology. This seems to be like kind of a primitive technology.
Yes. Well, they are, as it turns out.
And then...
They're not like the shadows from the comic. These are exactly what they appear on the surface.
Yes.
Just perfect savages living in a state of nature.
Yeah. So some of these ships are crashing on the Earth, and they run into one for shelter. But then a big one crashes and kills everyone. Later in the movie, we'll learn that it's 6 million people were killed there, including this Princess Liho.
Yeah.
What was the name in The Fifth Element? What was her name?
Lilu.
Lilu? Okay. All right.
Yeah, Lilu.
Here we got Liho, I think.
Yeah. In fact, yes.
So she dies, and there's this kind of shockwave, and then we finally meet our main character, Valerian, who's lying on a beach, and this wave comes over him, and it's revealed that this is a dream.
This energy wave.
This energy wave goes over him, energy wave, and it's like, he wakes up, it was a dream he was having of these people. Now, we learn at the end of this movie that world was destroyed 30 years ago.
At least, right? Was it exactly 30 years ago?
Yeah.
Right.
30 years ago.
So how did the wave...
Why did the shockwave, why did that energy wave take so long to get to him?
Yep. That's a damn good question. And why him?
Why him? This is another big question.
It turns out that Princess Liho...
Her spirit...
This is what they do. It's kind of like... this is going to be a Star Trek reference heavy episode. It's kind of like when Spock puts his Katra...
Yep.
In Captain Kirk...
Yep.
The dying Pearl aliens can choose who receives their soul.
Yeah.
And this alien princess chose Valerian's soul, despite him not being born at this point.
Yeah.
And being 30 years in the future and millions, presumably many millions of kilometers away. How does this happen?
And then her parents say at the end of the movie, she made a good choice or something. Like,
How did you choose that?
Of all the people in the universe...
And also, he does nothing.
No.
So, spoilers.
Yeah.
Him having her, we'll call it Katra, him having her Katra has nothing to do with the plot.
Yeah.
It needn't have happened.
Yeah.
It's completely pointless and superfluous to what occurs.
Yeah. Agreed.
Big problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Valerian is played by Dane DeHaan.
Yes.
This is terrible casting.
Yes.
Dane DeHaan is kind of a short, intense, pale guy.
He was the villain in Josh Trank's Chronicle.
Yes.
And he was
When
very
he's a
good
very
in
convincing teenager
and
with
he's,
anger issues.
he is the Green Goblin in Amazing
A
Spider-Man
very
2.
convincing teenager with anger issues.
Yeah.
What he's not is a suave...
He's not a
Slightly-
swashbuckling Han Solo type.
Han Solo type.
He's
But
not
Han
that.
Solo type is perfect. Slightly incompetent, slightly competent,
Yeah.
ladies' man kind of guy with a 70s haircut. He's none of those things.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what Besson was thinking casting him.
I don't know. It's
He
very odd.
the poor guy. He's doing his best.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
This is not the role for him. He's coming out with all these Han Solo style lines. He's
Yeah.
like the outrageous O'Connor. He's
Yes. No, it's beyond that. We're about to introduce Laureline here, played by Cara Delevingne. Mm-hmm.
Cara Delevingne.
Their back and forth is supposed to be Nora Ephron when Harry Met Sally,
Yes.
Sleepless in Seattle,
yes.
kind of
And
repartee.
It's awful. It's so forced
It's very
and awkward.
and yeah.
And there's nothing that these actors can do. They have zero chemistry.
Yes, agreed.
In fact, they even look kind of similar.
Yeah, I did.
Which gives an absolute brother and sister vibe.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And I just completely checked out.
By the way, in the comics, at least as far as I read, there's not really a will they, won't they. I mean, it's not as shut out as, say, Modesty Blaze and Willie Garvin, but there's a very low level of flirtation. He kisses her once or twice for whatever reason.
Yes,
but
they do eventually. I mean, they're a couple.
Yeah,
but it's never really
right.
They don't really define what it is. I said that I think eventually they kiss in volume 11 or something.
Okay, right.
And I read an interview with which one? The writer.
Christin.
He said that if anything was going on, he said it was going on between the panels.
Right. Okay.
He says a lot of stuff's going on between the panels.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, so here, like he's really ardent in his pursuit of her.
Okay, let's talk about. Okay, so I want to talk about this. So he's on a beach. It turns out to be a hollow beach. They're on a holodeck.
Yeah.
It seems like a beach, and suddenly we get this woman walking towards him. It's a butt first shot.
Yep.
I wanted to mention this because of another quote from Mézières.
Yep. Mézières.
He's talking about the publishing scene in Europe, and where can I start reading this from? Okay, I'll read the whole thing. I think the industry of comics in France lately is not in good health. This is 1986.
Okay.
It's been fantastic for the last 10, 15 years, but I can see it with the sales of my books or even the bestsellers. The sales are not very good because people don't have money. This is an economic point of view. We can do nothing about that. On the production of comic books in France, I think there's been a fantastic period before, but right now it seems to be very limited. Once again, I don't read comics. I look at it. I like some drawings. I don't like some other drawings. Some of them I just can't stand. Some books are maybe good, but I don't like the drawings, so I consider them bad. I don't think the production is very good. I think the production is aimed to be cheap. Not cheap, but commercial, really commercial. Naked girls. I have nothing against naked girls, but one butt in each frame? No. All you see in some magazines, you only see butts, only pricks. Okay, it's a liberated story, but it's such a dumb story. I've got nothing against butts if it's a good story. Gross says, do you think those kinds of stories are cynically done? Mézières says, butt sells, and necessarily it will not sell long.
What a fantastic quote. Holy
as the
shit.
opening shot of our lead actress is a close-up butt shot. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay.
I'm going to read this quote in its entirety.
Right.
Another fantastic quote. You're really knocking it out.
So they start
Cara
kind of
Delevingne
like...
is a very beautiful woman. She's a model.
Yeah.
But she's wearing almost nothing here.
Yes.
A gauzy kind of sun...
It's a
diaphanous
swimsuit.
Kind of robe. Well, she's got a swimsuit.
She got the robe on after when they go to the bridge.
Oh, so
now she shows up on the beach. She's just got the bikini on.
And I think he manhandles her.
He pulls her. They're making out kind of like he's like, and I'm like, okay, so they're a couple. This is what I'm thinking. But then they get the alert from the bridge. They leave for the bridge. They leave the holodeck. He's like, come on, you're attracted to me. And he's like, wait a second. They were just rolling around. They both got no clothes on.
Yeah.
Almost. And I'm like, oh, they're not a couple? Like, why was she allowing this? Is this her usual behavior for them to be all over each other?
He's just a creep. like a sex pest?
Yeah, I guess.
Because he seems like that character, the guy that...
Yes, he also, this is where we learn he has what's called a playlist, which is he's got an album like Gene Simmons of every woman that he slept with.
This doesn't go anywhere, like...
No, she says, I would never consider you unless you got rid of your playlist. So he's got to delete his files.
The film desperately wants to set him up as a man's man, playboy, kind of wannabe ladies man or what have you. But it doesn't go anywhere. It evaporates after this. And only pops up at the very, 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 very end, almost the last line of the film, where he says, "I want to get rid of my playlist." Also, it's like, I remember that 2.5 hours ago. This film's 2.5 hours long.
Yeah. Okay, well, here's another thing. He's pulling her onto himself.
Yep.
They both got barely any clothes. I'm like, okay, they're a couple. They walk out. He says, "I know you're attracted to me." I'm like, oh, they're not a couple? No. 10 minutes from now, he's going to propose to her. And I'm like, wait a second, you're not even dating and you're proposing to her?
Yeah.
I could not figure out what was going on here.
Yeah. I may be able to shed some light on it later.
Okay, later, all right. So, he asks the computer...
Alex.
When did Alexa come out? It's a bit weird that this female computer is called Alex.
That's good. They've got some cringy dialogue.
But he's like, can you tell me about this dream I had? And she's like, that dream came from somewhere else in the universe.
Oh, lucky you can read...
Able to detect that somehow.
How does the computer detect that?
Very cool.
Fine.
But anyway, they're supposed to come to this planet called Kyrian. Their mission is to retrieve a stolen object.
Yes.
Now, this planet is like a desert planet, but it has an interdimensional market, called Big Market, which is like it's a souk market, but it is in an alternate. It is a great concept. It's in another dimension.
I'm not sure how well it comes across, but it is a really cool concept.
Yeah.
Before we go on to Big Market, I want to mention two things. First of all, back on the ship. Sorry, I hate to do this. I hate to rewind.
No.
This is normally what you do. Normally, I'm trying to move it along, and you're dragging me back. It's my turn. He says to her that he calls her an Ivy League girl.
Okay.
There's all this. Is the Ivy League still around 800 years in the future?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. Because when they retrieve the transmuter, the converter, she says, "I learned about you in school." And that all information on that planet has been suppressed, and it was destroyed 30 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So then nobody knows anything about these people or converters. So it must be an Ivy League school that is teaching this kind of information, which is suppressed, top secret information.
It just seems like it's such a dated reference to mock someone for going to an Ivy League, saying that they're sheltered.
Yes, well, you know what? There's a scene later in the movie where we get to hear the Fugees' version of Staying Alive. And I hate when movies, it's a bit like the J.J. Abrams Star Trek, where we get to hear the Beastie Boys when Captain Kirk's driving around.
Yeah.
Really, it's 700 years in the future. Is this the best we can do?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Another thing is that this is the first time I heard, but not the last time, I heard an 80-yard line.
Okay.
Laureline has a very clear line where her lips don't match the words.
Right, okay. What was the line?
She says, "Your last detour was not so long ago," in answer to something that he said he'd made some detours on the way to her. Like she's his true love.
Okay.
His playlist was just some detours. She says, "Your last detour was not so long ago." Okay, the content of the line doesn't matter. What matters is that it didn't match her lips, and it even sounded...
Like a different actress?
Like a different actress.
Interesting. Well, I think if Dane DeHaan didn't do any ADR, I think they must have brought Keanu Reeves in to do it. Because he's got the same voice as Keanu.
I'm so glad you said that, because my very next note is he doing a John Wick voice?
No, you know what? He's doing the Johnny Montana voice or whatever it was from Point Break. Because in Point Break says, "I'm at the FBI," and there's a line here where he's like, "I am a federal agent."
Oh my god, I'm so glad that you heard that too, because it's not his normal voice, is it?
I know, it's that kind of congested... Yeah, it's...
It sounds like, "You're Keanu Reeves! You're Keanu Reeves!
Yes.
You're in Point Break! Yes. He's got a French accent. "You are in Point Break!"
Yeah, that was weird. a little bit distracting.
Yeah.
Not the actor's fault. Okay.
I'm sure it was, yeah.
Was there something else on the ship?
No,
Okay.
that's it. We can move on to Big Market.
So now there's Big Market, which is this market, as I said. Alternate dimension. Very cool idea. So basically, you put on these special glasses, and you can see the other dimension.
And you wear
through the glasses.
gloves in order to interact with the other
dimension. That's right. The gloves are in the other dimension.
Yeah.
So you can pick up things in that dimension. In that dimension, those people, it looks like things are just floating around. Like if you didn't have the glove on and you picked it up, it would look like, oh, that object's just floating.
Yep.
Actually, it's a person in our dimension who's picking that thing up, and vice versa.
Such a cool concept. I'm not sure about the execution.
Yeah.
I was often not sure what the rules were.
Yeah.
Because we see this Big Market is not just... it's on a vertical as well as a horizontal plane. It has levels.
Oh, yeah.
But the desert is just desert.
Yeah. How does this work?
How do you move from...
Yeah, there's a point where he falls through the ground.
How did he do that?
And I don't know how that works.
Well, we see he's standing on a grate.
Yeah.
And he goes through the grate.
Yeah.
And then what?
Yeah, it's very... Everything would have to have parallels in both universes for this to work.
Yeah, you can't... You can bring things... It's such a cool concept. So imagine just all over the galaxy there you would just have deserts, empty spaces where you could set up a link to this congruent dimension where you could go shopping. The biggest bazaar in the galaxy.
Yeah.
It just doesn't... Also, they paint you with something so that you will show up when you're walking around in there, so people don't.
Yeah, and there's something about how you're supposed to walk under a U sign for humans. You only go through when the sign is U, and I'm like, why is that detail in there?
And human beings wandering around in it, and they have a green U over their head.
Yeah.
Does it mean they're oxygen breathers? Are they parts of Big Market? But he goes into one of the. He goes into one area that actually has a red U, and I'm like, he can't go in here. But he just did.
Yes.
So how did that work?
Yeah, I don't know.
Our confusion, Kumar, was shared by Besson's crew.
Right.
They had, like, I have a quote from Entertainment Weekly from an interview in 2017. He said, after I wrote the sequence, I explained it to the crew for an hour.
Right.
They were smiling, but I could see on their faces that they didn't understand a thing. So then what he did is that at that time he had a film school in Paris.
Okay.
Called L'École de la Cité. It was a film academy that was free. It no longer exists, probably because of how badly this film did. He got the whole student body to shoot a demo reel of this sequence.
Whoa, okay.
600 storyboarded shots. He made them do it as like their curriculum. It's like part of that year's tuition. You had to show up and shoot Luc Besson's crazy Big Market scene. He said, I brought 120 students to the soundstage. We shot the entire scene. They were the actors. They were the cameramen, the lighting people, the grips, costumes, accessories. We put the 600 shots on the wall. One by one, we shot them. They did everything in 3 weeks. We edited it and threw in some temp music, and the crew then understood the scene.
Right. Okay.
Maybe.
Okay, so this market world is pretty cool. They need to retrieve this stolen object. That's the mission. They meet up with a whole team of these Federation agents.
It's pretty cool for a big CGI sequence.
Yes.
I don't know. Everybody praises people praise the visuals in this film.
But something that occurred to me watching this is that we always slag the Star Wars prequel movies. But watching this and other movies, I think they were really influential more than we realize. Like all the Coruscant stuff, all the kind of the chases through Coruscant, especially from episode 2, 3, just filling the screen with a million ships. That kind of mise-en-scène that George Lucas, when we were like, this movie is crap, but actually everybody I think is still kind of copying those. So I think they have more weight than we realize looking back.
I think that's probably true to an extent. I also reminded of there are sequences like this in The Fifth Element as well.
Yeah.
The other Besson film.
Yeah.
Which draw inspiration from Mobius and the Long Tomorrow. You know, like those enormous skyscrapers like diving through.
Yes.
Like lanes of flying traffic, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all feels a bit. I don't know. I could have done with. This was all shot on sound stages.
Right. Yeah.
I think I could have done with some more location shoots.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just becoming jaded to the possibilities of computer
100%.
animation now.
Sure.
It doesn't thrill me.
Yeah.
And every time the camera's diving through Big Market and we're seeing all these levels, these incredible levels and kilometers and kilometers of shops, I'm just like,
All right, I'm starting to change my mind.
Sorry, man, I'm ruining it.
But now we meet the dealer, who is voiced by a big alien voiced by John Goodman in his third. So he is
now
an all-star.
He's now an all-star. Welcome back. He was in Speed Racer and Atomic Blonde.
That's right. And now he's the voice of this dealer. Now, this dealer has the stolen object, and he's selling it to these two Mulians.
Yeah.
These Pearl people.
Yeah, we see them.
We thought they were all dead, but we see them here.
They popped up briefly earlier. They're wearing cloaks.
Right, yes.
So they popped up behind Valerian as he was sort of like figuring out where to go in Big Market. And now they're back, but we see them now.
Yeah.
Like, it was mysterious who they were initially, but Besson's just decided we can just see that they're the Mulians, the Pearls as they're called.
Yeah.
They want the converter.
Yeah.
John Goodman's alien's like, what are you going to give me for it? They have one of those beads.
Yeah. Which has like 10 megawatts of power, some huge amount of power.
Yes. Well, John Goodman is thrilled to see this bead, except how could he possibly have heard of it because all information about Mule has been suppressed.
Where did he get the converter from?
Yeah, exactly. That if the converters are indigenous to Mule, how did it get off the planet?
Yeah, don't know.
That's why you don't have it indigenous to Mule. You just have it from Blux or whatever it was from in the comic.
Yeah.
It's stupid to have it.
Yeah. It adds a bit of confusion.
So
but
John
anyway,
Goodman's thrilled about the idea of getting this pearl, and the Mulians, the Mulians, the aliens say, you can have as many as you want once you give us the converter. And John Goodman quite correctly points out, why would I give, now I assume you're going to use the converter to make these pearls. I could just do that myself and keep the converter and the pearl. What are you going to do? There's a Mexican standoff.
Yeah. Valerian shows up, partially in this dimension.
There's a cool gimmick where, normally you just take things out of Big Market. You don't put things into Big Market. In order for Valerian to have a gun in the market dimension, he has to use a pain box.
Yes. Yeah. He puts his arm in this thing.
In this big clunky box where it's a little hard to tell what's going on. It's in two parts. One part goes to the Big Market dimension. One part stays in the desert dimension.
That's right.
So the Valerian we see is running around with half a box and a kind of blue field on the end.
Yeah, it's like his hand has been cut off.
And in the
other dimension, it's just a floating arm in a box with a hand
sticking out of it, bobbing around the streets. It's actually kind of cool, but it took me a while to figure out what exactly was going on. Yeah, that summary I gave you was many minutes of mental effort on my part. So he holds John Goodman alien up at gunpoint. He takes the converter.
And he takes the bead.
Yes, he does.
He just steals that, straight up steals that bead.
He shouldn't have been able to steal that bead, though, because he doesn't take it through the box.
He was able to see it with his glasses, and he picked it up. Because John Goodman sees it float in midair. Yes. It's floating through the air.
So he's picked it up with his gloves, but he needs to... Here's another thing. In order to bring things back from Big Market Dimension, it needs to pass through...
a special...
It's like an airport scanner.
Yeah.
Basically, you feed your stuff in one end like you do your bag when you're in the airport. You touch it you have to provide your DNA for some reason. And then it comes out the other end back in your dimension. He never does that with the pearl.
Right.
Which bugged me.
Right. Okay, but now because he's stolen these things, we've got a big chase fight with this whole team. They send a big giant dog.
John Goodman swears he's going to hunt him down no matter where he goes.
Yeah.
John Goodman never appears in the movie again.
No, one of many people like Rutger Hauer, just one scene and done.
Yep. Maybe he was going to come back in the sequels. There were supposed to be 2 sequels at least.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so now our heroes manage to make it back to the ship. They talk to the minister, played by Herbie Hancock for some reason.
Yeah.
Has he ever been in a movie?
He has a very limited filmography I read on his Wikipedia page.
Okay.
Like maybe 6 movies.
Okay.
He's primarily a jazz musician.
Yeah. But he plays like the Minister of Earth.
No other comic book movies, unfortunately. Yeah, he's just... It's too bad he didn't sing his lines or something like that. That would be very...
Yeah, that would have been kooky.
Laureline, but no. This one takes itself way too seriously when it's not trying to be Iron Man. Anyway.
Yeah. Valerian does an analysis on this bead, and Alexa tells him that it's from the planet Mule, but there's no data on Mule. It's all top secret. It's been sealed. The files are sealed. Your access is not high enough to read about the planet Mule.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is 40 minutes into the movie now.
Right. Yeah. Now we're pulling up on the City of 1,000 Planets.
Yeah, 40 minutes into the movie, we're arriving at it.
And
Alpha Station.
Apparently they haven't been there in a year, and they're like, okay, tell us about the station. And we get all the details about population, all the stuff that they should know, even if they've been away for a year.
Yep.
Why do they need to hear that the population is 30 million?
Yep.
Which, by the way, was not big enough for me for Valerian and Laureline. That's a population of Mumbai or Tokyo. I felt like...
It's a lot of people.
This
is a space station.
I feel like it should be... This is Valerian and Laureline. This should be like 30 billion or something fun. Like a fun number like
that's
that.
That's nuts. Yeah, but it's not as big as a planet. It's a...
No, that's true. It hasn't grown in the last 400 years since it got shot out into space, I guess.
I'm sure it has, but still enough to support 30 billion.
Anyway, this is a weird info dump.
Yeah.
Because these guys know... They're from here.
Again, there's a lot
They are
of
returning to base.
Besson can't think... He just can't think of how to get information across in this highly visual medium except the info dump.
Yeah.
I know that he can do better than this. There aren't info dumps like this in The Fifth Element.
Yeah.
Well, not as many.
But we get it like there's 3,000 species, there's 5,000 languages. We know this, Alexa. You don't need to tell us. So weird. I guess there's a little bit of setup for what comes at the end. Anyway, they come to their general... and they reveal what they're taught. They're told by the general that there is this area
at the center
that has become radioactive. I guess in the year that they've been away.
Yeah.
It's become radioactive. Any team that goes in there doesn't come out.
Yep.
And this is a crisis, so the commander of the station is going to hold a council with other members to discuss the issue and what they're going to do about it or something like that.
Yeah, so here the station is not run by...
A rotating council, no.
No, because this is a human station.
Yeah.
So humans run it.
Yeah.
And the commander of the station is played by Clive Owen.
Yes. Second appearance.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Him and Rutger Hauer were both in, and they're both having their second appearance after appearing in Sin City.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Clive Owen is doing his best with the material too. He's been told, obviously, to act evil.
Yeah, he's so obviously evil. I guess the ambassador in the comic was obviously evil from page 2.
You say obviously evil, but he was just it's like they said, there's no evil in... He was just an obfuscating bureaucrat type.
Yes.
Like an impediment to our heroes, but not...
but he had to be magically pacified at the end. But, I mean, the storytelling here is very crazy because... All the music cues, everything indicate that Clive Owen is the bad guy of the movie, right?
Yes.
Then at the end of the movie, when we learn what happened on Planet Mule, we learned that like this nuke was shot against this giant starship which crashed its planet, which caused the destruction. But we only see the back of the captain's head. We don't know who ordered it, but it's so obviously him. And then finally, 5 minutes later, the camera pans around and we see it was Clive Owen.
Yeah, big surprise.
I'm like, what is this? But you know what I think's happening here? They walk into this... When Valerian and Laureline return to base, they walk in and the general's back is turned to them. And he delivers a bunch of lines.
Yep.
And
he does.
He turns around as if it's going to be Marlon Brando or something. No, it's just some guy. And I'm like, why were we hiding this guy's identity? I think, speculate, Luc Besson was trying to make us think that the general... was the commander of that mission at the end.
Oh,
but it's
possible.
But it's so clumsy.
Has red hair.
Exactly. It doesn't work. Nothing works. It's so clumsy.
This would be... I kept waiting for it to be a bait and... I expected it to be a bait and switch.
Yeah.
Like Clive Owen isn't... This is how, I guess... Even that would be hoary.
Right. Yeah.
You know... Would be a bit of a cliche. Oh, the obviously evil bad guy wasn't evil. No, it's even worse. The obviously evil bad guy was evil.
Yep.
All along.
Yep.
He's so dodgy. He's talking about his specially trained unit of robot commandos.
Yes.
The K-Trons.
The K-Trons, which look cool.
They look so cool.
They're like humanoid, except for the heads, which are these weird, like... I can't even describe them. They're almost
it's a wedge.
Bird-like. Yeah, they're wedge. It's like a metal wedge. They're black, and they look really good.
And they move. They've done it so well.
Yeah.
Their heads move. So there's human in there.
Yeah.
Their heads are moving back and forth, and they've used some kind of plastic that stretches, and it just looks so mechanical and sinister. It's so great.
Yeah.
More K-Trons, less
Yeah.
other stuff,
And
please.
also, in the next scene, if you were wondering if he's evil or not, he's actually got a prisoner, a mule prisoner, who he's torturing for information.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's just keeping on this like room in a hallway.
This is the next room.
Yeah.
It's the room right out the command center room. Like, he doesn't go, he just walks into the next room and he's in there. There's obviously sinister, like, technicians torturing him. He says if he doesn't talk, kill him. What information do they want from this alien? We never find out.
Yeah.
What possibly... Now that we know the whole story, what did Clive Owen want from him?
I think he wanted to know... I don't know.
Nothing.
Doesn't he reveal something? I can't remember. There's too much going on. If they did reveal, which I have a hunch maybe they did. Anyway, Valerian and Laureline are assigned to bodyguard him when he goes to this meeting.
Yep.
And Laureline is holding on to the converter. She's taking it.
Because Clive Owen wants the converter.
He wants it.
Incidentally, why does Clive Owen want the converter?
He wants energy. Nope, I don't know.
Sorry. There's no reason. We just need the converter to be here.
Yeah.
Luc Besson needs the converter to be here in this scene.
So it's a literal MacGuffin, I guess. Okay.
There's no in fact, the converter does nothing. Like, Laureline barely uses it. I think she uses it once. Unlike in the comic where she was using it constantly to buy stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And I was reading the comic going, oh my god, stop wasting Earth's money. She uses it once.
Yeah.
To pay the little... The Wattos.
Yeah.
The Wattos.
Yeah.
I bring this up because there's so many contrivances around the converter. The Mulians need the converter to power their spaceship.
Yeah.
Because they needed to use... They wanted to make more pearls, an energy source, to power their spaceship, which will restore... Which will power their holodeck.
Yeah.
To restore their planet... Their planet's environment inside a spaceship that they've built at the center of Alpha Station.
Okay.
Why do they need the converter to do this? You know...
They need more jewels?
Okay, sure.
More beads?
Beads are a good power source, but there are other power sources.
Yeah.
Valerian himself has a holodeck that works on the exact same principles, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
That doesn't run on beads.
Yeah.
Why can't they just use one of those power sources to run their thing?
Yeah. I think it's more than a hologram. I think it's an environment. I think it's a real, like, with real water and sand and
Fair enough.
Maybe.
Okay, fair enough. That's fair. They need extra... It just happens to be the power source which is indigenous to their planet that they want to restore their planet.
Yes.
Okay.
It's... You know what? It's very much like Leho choosing Valerian. Like, why go all the way to him?
Yeah.
Why go to this bead for power
It's all
source?
just so contrived.
Yeah.
The Valerian rescue... Like, Leho putting her... Carter in Valerian has nothing to do with him rescuing the converter, has nothing to do with him taking the converter to Alpha Station, has nothing to do with Commander Clive Owen wanting the converter. There's no reason for Clive Owen to want the converter. He never expresses a desire to use it in any way, shape or form. He just wants to have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is just...
Yeah. But it does advance the plot in this way. The mules show up as the mercenaries. It's not the other big guys. It's not the communists or the Bagulans. It's not the Bagulans. It's the mules that show up with the cocoon guns.
Incidentally, they still dress the same way they did on their ocean world.
That's right.
Which is another mind fuck. You needed to have them...
Because at least in the market they were in disguise in those robes, those Jedi robes.
You needed to have them in disguise.
Yeah.
So that it's a reveal when we find out that they're the same aliens at the end of the movie.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
That's, instead they're hanging around in their avatar gear. Their beads and loincloths.
Yeah.
Is this appropriate attire for a space station?
Yeah. That you've been living on for
30 years? Or
15 years or something? Or
we'll get into that. We'll get into their ridiculous 30-year history since they left their planet.
Okay, so outside... Laureline has been left outside the council hall to guard the corridor. She's the only one out there. The Wattos come up. They're like, we have information about mercenaries. She's like, how much, whatever. But then the mercenaries attack, and it's the mules, and they have the cocoon guns.
Yep.
And Valerian had put this device in his mouth.
Yeah, which I assume was going to be some kind of rebreather.
Yeah.
Because the cocoons have gas inside them to put you to sleep.
Yeah.
No, it's not a rebreather. Instead, a little spider comes out and lasers him free from the cocoon. Did you have the same question as I did? Why did he put it in his mouth?
Why did he put it in his mouth? How did he know that he was going to get cocoon attacked instead of just lasered to death?
Yep.
I assumed
Is this thing saliva activated?
I think this thing was multi-purpose. I think it was oxygen and spiders. It's like a Swiss Army knife.
Okay.
Whatever your issue is.
It's a Swiss Army cocoon escaper.
That's right.
It has two functions. It gives you oxygen and it cuts you out.
Right. So he goes...
Very specific situation.
He goes on the run looking for the commander who's been taken in this very cool spaceship, which, like... is like
great.
these like little triangles that can form together into one ship or split up.
Why do they even need... They've already got all this tech. Why do they even... Incidentally, they built this from scratch.
Yeah, that's
This
right.
is high tech.
That's right. It's very high tech.
And these aren't... They're not the Shadows.
No.
They didn't have a technical civilization that they abandoned.
No, they learned all this.
They learned it in 30 years.
That's right. That's right.
From
That's right.
Pacific Islanders.
We get exposition about that, yeah.
Oh my god. But first, he in his spacesuit, they're wearing these kind of cool spacesuits.
Very cool. I like the lights on the spacesuits and
Yeah,
stuff.
they look great. Incidentally, he's running... First he chases after them.
Yeah.
And his spacesuit has all of these capabilities, which he uses for this scene and this scene only.
Yes. Yes.
He can run through solid metal walls.
Yeah.
Just run straight through them wearing the spacesuit. The spacesuit can fly.
Yep.
He flies.
And swim.
Yep. It can fly underwater and in a vacuum.
Yep.
Incidentally, he runs through all sorts of separate environments.
Yep.
Busting big holes between them.
Yep.
He busts a big hole between the water chamber and one that doesn't have water in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You just ruined two sentient beings' days.
Yep. Yep.
You've just destroyed both of those environments that were kept separate by a bulkhead. Yeah, bulkheads. What kind of suit can run through a metal bulkhead? It's nuts that he can do that. He's like the Juggernaut in the X-Men.
Yeah,
movie.
exactly. It's very much like that, yeah.
Like, it's a cool sequence, but I'm just asking questions.
Yeah. By the way, every exterior shot of the Alpha looks really cool.
Yes.
It's like this mega
I do like
space.
that. I wish I'd seen... I wish the whole film had been set on Alpha Station.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we didn't have the...
So he's been directed where to go by Laureline, who's back in the command center with the general. The general's a good guy.
Yeah.
But they end up losing track of him, basically. He's...
there are dead bits. Alpha Station is a real hodgepodge. So
yeah, there are what are called red zones, which is confusing because the
bit at the center is also a red
dead
zone.
zone.
Oh, right.
The
I bet
radioactive
they use
one's
red
dead
to
zone.
show it.
And then sometimes they say he's in a dead zone or he's in the red zone. It was very like, is there one red zone or two, or is it the same as a dead zone?
He runs out. There's a kind of, I guess what's meant to be funny. It feels like the comic. She tells him to run through a bulkhead labeled 81.
Yeah.
And he does, and unfortunately he just goes straight out into the vacuum space.
Yeah.
And this is a big shock. He should be screwed.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, she's like, well, I don't understand. And then she touches the touchscreen and turns it around. Of course, it was 18 or 81. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Because, of course, up and down wouldn't mean anything on a space station.
Yeah.
It's just been smashed together out of all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Cool. Luckily, his automat, Alex, in the spaceship comes around and picks him up.
Yeah.
He gets in a little kind of like X-Wing kind of deal.
Yeah, it was called a Skyjet, I think.
Except they're not in the sky, they're in the vacuum of space, whatever. And he chases, this is where he chases that tripartite ship that splits off into lots of little ships, and he eventually finds the one carrying the ambassador. He attaches himself to it, but it drags him into a red zone where he disappears.
Yeah, we're never told what red zone is, by the way.
No.
Anyway, so the Laureline wants to go looking for him, but the general says, no, I'm not going to lose 2 agents today.
Yeah.
So she's kind of escorted by 2 guards, but she attacks her guards and escapes. She's going to rescue him no matter what. The Wattos come up again. She's like, we'll negotiate for information. And she like points a gun at them.
Yeah.
Which is
hate this.
her negotiation. I did not like that. To me, that's not like the fun comics version of Laureline.
You're pointing guns at people. They
don't seem like bad dudes. They're actually kind of cute little dudes.
She's really mean to them.
Yes.
I think the part of here's the actor's range. She can only really do grumpy.
Yeah.
Or more like pissed off.
Yeah.
And she actually shoots one of them in the wing.
Right. Right.
So what are you doing? Eventually she ends up paying them off with the convert. Like, you've got an infinite energy machine thing sort of here. Just pay them what they want.
Yeah.
You want to find Valerian, don't you? And so she's really cruel to them. I don't like it. I never like it when... Especially, they're unarmed.
Yeah. So they're like, you need to go to the big hippo, the water hippo things, because they're
jellyfish.
They're jellyfish because I think in this version they can see, like they've seen what's happened or something.
How did they see what happened? Valerian never went near those guys.
They're underwater. Like, what did they see? Anyway, doesn't add up. Doesn't make sense. They take her to a submarine captain named Bob. This eccentric character, we didn't even talk about the market guy. That guy was, oh boy, that performance was over the top. Yeah. Bob is also a little bit over the top.
And again, some French actor. It's the same with Bob. The same with the market guy.
Right.
They're both French actors that have been cast in the movie.
So here they retrieve the squid, or the jellyfish, sorry, and she puts it on her head, and she's got like a 60-second time limit to see what happened to Valerian. Not bad.
Yeah, it's
it was cool like sequence. The comic, and it's a kind of a cool psychedelic sequence.
Yeah, I liked it. And there's even a sense of urgency because she needs to see something that will tell her where Valerian is.
Right.
We've got the Wattos telling her that she's getting very close to the 60-second time limit. Yeah. In this case, if you go 60 seconds, over 60 seconds, the jellyfish eats your brain.
Yeah, it starts taking your memories or something like that. Yeah,
so that's a big deal. Stakes, man.
Yeah.
She goes for a minute 10. I didn't know where this was going.
Yeah.
So it looks like she's okay.
Yeah.
She's okay. They said she set a new record.
Right. Right. So she does figure out where he is from this, and she finds him. They reconnect finally. But then they are like alien fished.
Yeah.
Like some aliens, which are the Bagulans.
Yeah, in the comic they're the Bagulans. Here they're called something else.
They're called something else.
They are fishing in this chasm with nothing else in it.
The difference in names is why I thought maybe the French names in the comic were different. Like maybe the movie was pulling names from the comic.
Maybe. I didn't think to check.
I don't know. Anyway, right, so they are like are they fishing? Okay, well, here's a question. They've got these beautiful translucent butterflies, like glass butterflies, but if you hold one,
not all of them though. Only some of them.
Some of them, you get zipped up by these big aliens.
Who are fishing with literal fishing rods.
Now, what are they fishing? Are they fishing for butterflies? Or are they fishing for random...
They're fishing for things that...
large mammals that might fall into this chasm?
Yes, the latter. Makes no sense. There's nothing else
How often does that happen?
There's nothing else in this chasm. So what are they fishing for? Maybe there's something that preys on the butterflies that they're fishing for that we just didn't see. I'm going to give the movie the benefit of the doubt. Anyway, they catch these large mammals... And they
catch
Laureline
they put her in a cage.
That's what I meant by large mammals.
Right, yes.
The humans.
Valerian manages to escape by shooting the guy that catches him.
Why didn't Laureline think to do that?
Also, wouldn't shooting him cause him to fall back down in the chasm?
Drop the fishing rod?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
he remembered to use his flight suit at this point. His suit's pretty banged up. Maybe that's why he never uses its features for the rest of the...
Yeah.
Now he sees that she's been taken into the Booleans territory, which apparently you can't go in. It has a big sign saying no foreigners.
No foreigners, it's spelled wrong, yeah.
And why does this stop Valerian? I don't know. Because the plot needs him to be stopped here.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he just...
There has to be a threat of what happens if a foreigner goes in there. We don't know what the threat is if a foreigner goes in there. So I think maybe he does mention something at some stage.
Well, it's a sovereign area of the station where Earth's writ doesn't apply, because we hear the general later saying, when he hears that Valerian has his signal has appeared there, he's like, oh shit, no one ever goes in there and no one ever comes out.
Right.
Okay. I don't know why, they're just full of kind of sluggish, tall dudes.
Well, we do learn that they eat people.
Yes. That was kind of cool, actually.
So maybe people are getting eaten in there.
Yeah. Don't go in or you'll get eaten. Well, so he asks Alexa what to do.
Yeah.
She says you need to find a glamour pod.
Right.
Because you need to look like one of these aliens.
So Valerian goes into the red light district
yes.
to find a glamour pod, as you call it.
To find a Rihanna.
Yes. Right. Well, he finds Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, that's
Ethan Hawke is this kind of pimp.
He's
running a strip club.
I think he's credited as like Jolly the Pimp.
Jolly the Pimp. Okay. I'm not sure what he's doing in this movie. He's in one scene. This one scene.
He's great in the scene. Or was it a bit over the top for you?
No, I don't know what to make of it. I'm just shocked by his presence. He doesn't seem like... If you were hiring comic relief for a movie, would your choice be Ethan Hawke?
No. He's doing his best. Luc Besson. You are funny!
Yes. Yes.
I thought he was alright. Chewing the scenery.
Yes.
He has a glamour pod. His brothel is completely empty.
Completely empty, and he's got one girl working for him.
It's Rihanna.
Rihanna. She does a very long dance scene. Every scene in this movie is very long. This is like 5 minutes for her, and she's like magically changing outfits. She does a kind of burlesque dance.
She's
kind of changing.
She's a shapeshifter.
She's a shapeshifter. We revealed that she's a shapeshifter called Bubble.
Yep.
She's a blue creature. I like the design of the blue creature. I like Rihanna in this.
She's actually not bad.
She's not bad. In fact, she was not bad enough that I was like, what if they had cast her as Laureline? Might have been a better movie, maybe, question mark?
Who knows?
Doesn't matter. She's going to die in 2 scenes from here.
Yeah, well,
anyway, with lots of dramatic music, as if we're supposed to care about this character that we met in one scene ago.
I noticed that too. We only just met her. Sorry, I just don't care.
I just don't care. Anyway, he's like, look, I need your help. He kills Ethan Hawke, basically to free her from bondage, you know. And she's like an actress, like she's been studying since she was 4, but she's this blob creature. So it's basically like the comic, he wears her as an outfit to disguise himself as one of these creatures so he can go into the No Foreigners area.
Yep.
They're having trouble walking, coordinating. Surprising, since in the next scene they're able to do kung fu and beat up dozens of others of these creatures, no problem. Even though they couldn't walk straight coming into the place.
There's a kind of cool sequence where the Emperor, who for some reason lives on a space station, the Emperor of these people, not the only Emperor in this movie, he is being... There are just like dozens and dozens of these aliens all carrying a single dish to him, and he tries it and spits it out. He doesn't like any of it, and his kind of like attendant is very disappointed whenever he doesn't enjoy a dish that she's had brought to him. Anyway, eventually Laureline comes up wearing a kind of like a white dress. She's very cute, but an enormous hat.
Yeah.
With her head poking out the top. And she's got 2 big fruits that look like lemons. Anyway, finally the Emperor perks up. He's excited. After all that other food he didn't care about, this he's really thrilled to see.
Yeah.
And he picks up the lemon analogues, squeezes them on the hat. Of course, he wants to eat.
Yeah, he picks up these big shears like
he's going to take the top of her head off.
Yeah. Yeah. But then Valerian attacks in his skin suit. Alien skin suit, and rescues her.
Boring kung fu sequence.
They somehow fall down a grate into like a garbage disposal.
Yep. Then we get this scene that you mentioned where we're supposed to care about Bubble.
Bubble dies. Yeah, I guess from the falling through the grate, or was she injured?
They said she was injured in the fight, but I guess Besson couldn't figure out what to do with her for the rest of the movie.
Very bizarre moment here where she turns into Cleopatra and delivers some lines from Shakespeare, which she mentioned earlier that she knew all of Shakespeare, but I thought, wow, that's a weird choice.
And then she turns into dust.
Yeah. Her species turns to dust when they die.
And she has all this... Like, it's just really cringe.
Yeah.
Like, she's saying all these... Like, Dane DeHaan is Keanu Reevesing his way through this dialogue that's supposed to be impactful, I suppose. He's like, you have an identity. Just, what are you talking about?
You're the greatest performer I've ever seen.
The greatest performer I've ever known.
Yeah.
We barely know this character.
Yeah. Yeah, very weird. Now, at this point, we learn that this is when we learn that Dane Valerian has had this spirit of this girl in him. He kind of knows where to go in Alpha City. He's like, I know we need to go in this direction because I've felt this presence inside me.
Yeah. Which hasn't been mentioned for a while.
Has not been mentioned ever?
Not since the... Oh, ever, yeah. Not since we heard that... Not since we
had a dream, and that was it. He never mentioned that this is
told him that he had received the dreams externally.
Because he didn't know... He needed Laureline to tell him where the commander was. Yeah. Tell him, go down corridor 81. Go down here. Go down there. Go there.
Yeah.
Now he's suddenly... The commander is with the mules.
Also, Leo...
And he's like, I know where they are, so we're going in this direction.
Damn good point. And Leo died 30 years before they ever came to Alpha Station. Mm-hmm. She shouldn't be able to tell him where anything is.
No.
She's never set foot on Alpha Station.
No. But somehow he's sensing the other mules, maybe, because of her spirit in him.
Maybe.
So they come to this kind of shimmering wall. And when they pass through it, the mules are on the other side. It's kind of like a big hangar, like it's a barren, ugly hangar. that they're living in.
And it has one of the original space station pods with the Chinese flag on it in there.
Yeah.
This film has some Chinese market. How would you call it?
There's some definite. The producers, like some of the names in the credits were in
Chinese investors.
Characters.
There are Chinese investors. Yeah. But also it has some, how would you say, sops to the Chinese market.
Right.
So having a very prominent Chinese flag in one scene is one such.
Got it.
Another is that one of the general staff back in the command center, who is called, I think, Sergeant Neza.
Neza, yeah.
He's played by Chris Wu.
Yeah.
You've heard of Chris Wu?
Well, I haven't heard of him, but when I went to Wikipedia and I was just scrolling down, you know how it gives you an automatic pop-up window of, like, who this actor is? And I scrolled down to Chris Wu and it said, Chris Wu is a convicted rapist. And I was like, whoa, this is this guy's identity.
Well, so the person who edited his Wikipedia articles decided that's the most important thing about him.
Yeah.
Yes, well, he's a kind of hip-hop artist from China.
Canadian,
he's from Canada, but his career was sort of in South Korea and China.
Right.
And he was convicted in China of rape in, I think, about 2019.
Yeah.
And he's in jail.
Yeah.
Anyway, his presence in this film, again, is pandering to the Chinese market.
Got it.
Incidentally, this film did very well in China.
Right.
Made more than a quarter of its entire take was made in China.
Whoa, okay.
$62 million
wow.
just in the Chinese market.
Okay.
By far the most successful place where it did business.
Right.
I think it was the most popular film in China for a whole month.
Wow, okay. So now we're in this mule area, this hangar, and we get the whole backstory. By the way, they got the commander there, he's unconscious.
Yep. So now we get the big info dump, which is really long and really confusing. Well, confusing, really kind of not great.
Right.
So the story is they were living in harmony on their planet. They fished the beads and gave the beads back to the planet.
Yeah.
That's what they were doing in that first scene. Why they did that, it's never explained. Then a space war happens. And we see, as you said, the commander ordering an attack on a sort of an enemy dreadnought or a big enemy ship. We never find out who the enemy is, incidentally.
No.
Someone never bothered to told that, doesn't matter. He launched fusion missiles at it. Incidentally, we already have fusion missiles in the year 2025.
Sure.
Thermonuclear weapons are fusion weapons. I guess this is some sort of doomsday device in the 28th century. Whatever. He hits the ship with it, and then the ship crash lands onto the planet. But he orders the attack after having heard that there are sentients on Mule.
Right.
But he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We then hear that
he's worried about, like, being sued and all this kind of stuff, so he's trying to...
That's what he says when he wakes up.
Yeah.
Which is silly, but we'll get to that. So we find out then that the Pearls, the Mulians, they took shelter in one of the crashed ships, and inside that crashed ship, they then reverse engineered all of human history. They literally say this. Everything, they learned every conceivable subject they studied inside this ship.
Yeah.
In a couple of years.
Yeah.
And when they never stopped dressing like the way they were dressed on the beach either. They're wandering around, still wearing their loincloths. So they get the ship working again. They've gone from being guys that literally did nothing but gather beads all day. They didn't seem to have any agriculture, or they just lived on a beach, right?
Well, we didn't see the rest of the planet.
Yeah, the planet was just a big beach.
We don't know that they could be some sort of alien species that is able to learn other technology very quickly.
Maybe.
I mean,
still seems like a lot.
Of course it is. I'm trying to make excuses.
Even if they're the most brilliant, like they have some sort of incredible photographic. Even if you have a photographic memory, you still have to read everything.
Yes.
So they learn everything there is to learn about space travel and surviving in the vacuum and high technology, and even designing new technologies like their super advanced ship that can split into 30 smaller ships, and their guns.
Well, some of this was learned. So they're picked up by a salvage ship, which basically brings them to Alpha City, and inside Alpha City, now we get a callback to all those aliens we were told about in the first info dump, because they learn about computers from, like, the tech species or whatever.
They've been wandering all over again, they had to do this awfully quickly, but they wander all over this could have been cool, but the time frame is just too short.
Yep. But the whole purpose of them learning all this stuff is so that they can rebuild their world inside
this rather small spaceship.
Right.
It's about the size, as you said, of a hangar.
Inside, yes.
And there's only about 30 of them. Is this a viable genetic sample?
No. Well, we don't know. They're aliens. We can't.
Okay,
we
fine.
can't presume.
That's fine. That's actually a really good point. Incidentally, the leader of this tribal people is an emperor.
Yes.
The second emperor so far in the movie.
Emperor of what?
Exactly.
Did they ever leave the Mule planet? Are you talking about emperors of countries on the planet of Mule?
There were 6 million of them. Maybe they had an empire.
Okay.
How do you need an empire? What is an empire? I mean, the definition of emperor is a bit contested.
Okay.
What exactly does it mean? I mean, at the very least, you need to have an empire.
Yes.
And what's an empire? An empire is usually a multinational, very large, kind of bigger than a kingdom, kind of polity. It's also what we would call kind of like what we would call, I guess, a more advanced civilization than the tribal level, which they were demonstrating in that scene. So why is it called an emperor? I don't know. Emperor is just a cool word.
Yes. Yeah.
It just, again, gets my goat.
Yeah.
Call him the chief.
Yeah.
Give him some cool alien name like First Speaker or...
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yes.
Why call it emperor? It's the second emperor too. Anyway, they've saved one pearl from the planet. They were never in such... That pearl has got like what... Like
Wait a second, they saved the pearl, so why do they need the pearl that Valerian stole?
It's the only one. They only saved one pearl from their planet. And Valerian
and he stole... Okay, got it.
So you think they'd be more concerned with getting the pearl back than getting the converter. But they need the converter to make more pearls, because they need the pearls to power their ship to make the reproduction of their homeworld. No other energy source will do. Right. Incidentally, they were in utter dire straits for dozens of years. They never were tempted to use the pearl up at any point in the preceding decades. Maybe
wait a second. They were going to trade that pearl for the replicator.
Not that pearl. They were going to make more pearls using the converter.
Oh, at that moment. At the moment of exchange.
That's the point that John Goodman says, this is a shit deal because I already got the converter.
Right, okay.
And now I have the pearl too. Which was a good point.
Yeah. Okay.
John Goodman made some good points.
Yeah. Commander wakes up, he's like, hey, we have to cover this up, because otherwise...
We get a kind of diatribe from him, and, you know, he talks a lot about kind of like colonialism, and, you know, he's a very villainous.
Yeah.
He has a lot of imperialistic talk, where he's talking about how they're savages and the economy of the Earth is at stake. If everyone found out about this mass genocide which he performed, then Earth would have paid a terrible economic price.
Yeah.
They would have been ostracized by the galactic community... And he had to do it to win that particular conflict, and look, it's just... This is how I justify my rampant imperialism. Okay, but it all just comes from nowhere. We never get any... There's no conspiracy... He's a conspiracy of one. We never get the sense that the higher-ups on Earth are behind this.
Right.
He's done it all on his own recognizance. He's personally sealed all the archives on Mule.
And in fact, assassinated a guy that knew that there were sapient beings on that planet.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Except people have been aware of this planet all through the movie. John Goodman knew about the pearls.
Yeah.
Laureline knew about the converter.
Yeah.
And you know, this needed to be a thing. This needed to be running through the whole movie. You can't just spring it on us.
Yes. Well, okay. You know what? There's a couple of springs that are going to happen, because now Valerian punches him out.
Yep.
And then he gives the pearl back to the people.
Yep.
But he refuses to give the converter, the little creature.
Yeah, because that's...
Why? Because he says, I follow the rules. I'm a soldier. Wait a second. You just punched out the commander.
Yes.
You've broken the rules, I think, a few times in this
insubordinate movie. They've been insubordinate the whole movie, basically.
And, well, it's fine for her, because she argues against him.
Yep.
She's like, come on, you have to give these people their converter. But where did this sudden speech come from where he's like, I follow the rules? The movie has been selling us him as a Han Solo type, a maverick. The whole movie, he just punched out his commander, and in the next scene, he's saying, I follow the rules, I'm a soldier.
Wild.
That also came out of absolutely nowhere.
Yep, agreed.
It was just like a plot line that you forgot to write about this in the last 200 pages of your script.
Incidentally, he's right. It is Federation property, because it was presumably stolen from the Federation.
Where was it stolen from?
We don't know, we never find out.
Yeah.
Because the mission to recapture it has nothing to do with...
Exactly.
The plot on Alpha Station. He just says, I gave him the pearl because that was theirs, but the converter's ours, so why would I give that to him? And she gives this meaningless speech where she talks about the power of love. And I guess love is when you give people a converter.
Right. Wait a second, doesn't the pearl technically belong to John Goodman?
No, because he didn't give them the converter. They didn't complete the exchange.
I see.
I get what you're saying, though. So he's convinced by this terrible speech, which has absolutely nothing to do with anything, and he gives them the converter, they make their beads, they dump the beads in another hole, just like they used to do back on their planet. Their ship turns into a version of their homeworld.
The paradise.
And then instead of the film ending, we have 20 more minutes.
Right, because Commander Clive Owen has pre-programmed his K-Trons to attack this area.
Not quite. Not quite. The humans have shown up with the K-Trons under the command of the General. The General doesn't know what's happening.
But the General doesn't want the K-Trons there, but they've been pre-programmed.
Yes, they escort them anyway. That's correct. Then, the dumbest thing ever happens. One of the tribal people come up and say, there's a whole bunch of humans out there.
Yeah.
And Emperor, who is incidentally the Emperor, who's a man, who is voiced by a woman.
Yeah. I was okay with that.
Yeah. It's just, I've just got cognitive dissonance.
Right.
Because this man sounds like a woman.
Yeah.
It's not like in Thor, Love and Thunder, where a woman was called a king.
Right.
And that was fine.
Yeah.
Here, the Emperor is very clearly a man.
Yeah.
But voiced by an Australian actor who was in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay. Okay.
Just
right.
okay. I'm glad that I'm glad that you could deal with it.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's all these humans outside. He says, yeah, it's alright. We'll be gone in a minute. And Valerian's like, you don't have a minute. Don't just give me an open channel and
There's some sort of countdown timer happening. I'm not sure what that was.
That happens later.
Okay.
It's a bomb. It's a bomb that the commander has set up.
Okay.
Somehow.
Okay.
It's never clear how or why. Maybe the K-Trons did it. So Valerian says they argue about it for a minute. Was that the minute they needed to escape? I guess they should have just done that instead of arguing about it. And he says he needs a channel to communicate with the outside world and he can make that problem go away. But instead he makes it a million times worse. First of all, he goes into the Chinese shuttle.
Yeah.
Why is this Chinese shuttle still working 800 years later? What did they make it out of? Unobtainium? Why is it powered?
One of those beads.
They dropped a bead in it.
Yeah.
It's like, it just powers anything. It's a magic bead. Fine. They use the radio on this Chinese shuttle to... They're able to get right through to the general. They didn't call him on the phone.
No, but there's a moment where somebody says... Like, somebody in the command center says, we're getting a call from the Chinese capsule from 2025 or something.
Yeah, they do say that. Yeah. And so you knew about the capsule. I thought they didn't know what was in the dead zone. But they knew the Chinese capsule was in there?
No, they don't know where the capsule is. They just know the signal's coming from the capsule.
They just have that
It could
number.
be anywhere.
They just have that number on file.
Yeah. They've got that transcode or whatever it is.
Great. Okay, fine. They call him and they said, stand down, and he says, well, is the commander all right? Because he doesn't know what's happened. He goes, oh, you want... And then for some reason, they go and get the commander.
Yeah.
And let him talk.
They need his access. Because they come in and they're like, we need your DNA code or something.
No, he just says he needs to hear from the commander in order to stand down the troops.
Yeah, but there was something specific like they need his DNA code. They're like, we can't do that. We're in this capsule. And they're like... But then when the commander comes on, they're like, that's his voice. They've got voice authorization. I'm like, wait a second. Why couldn't you get the voice from Valerian?
I feel like... You might be right, but the way I remember it is that the general just wants to hear from the commander.
They needed authorization from the commander himself.
Yeah. Like the general's asking for authorization from the commander.
Yeah, not from Valerian.
To stand down.
Yeah.
So... If Valerian, instead of saying, the commander is evil, I've relieved the commander of duty.
Yes, I see what you're...
He's incapacitated, he's unconscious, he's dead.
Yeah.
Any answer which would have been better than letting the commander talk to the general, letting him reinsert himself in the chain of command, which, of course, he promptly does, and he orders the K-Trons to kill everybody and blow up...
Yeah, right.
And blow up the mule's ship with him still in it, incidentally.
Yes.
I guess he says he'd rather die than be dishonored.
Right.
So he knows it's
That's
suicide.
right. The soldier will always choose death over humiliation.
This is the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
It was nuts that Valerian let him talk.
Yeah.
Nuts. Anyway, so this is the standard. So now we just get a long action sequence. Chris Wu gets to be part of this.
But you know what? The other thing was the general knew that the commander had turned bad already. He'd found the tortured...
You're right. So he
knew that he uncovered the conspiracy. He unlocked the files.
You're right. He did. So why did he want to hear from the commander?
He needed the commander to stand down the K-Trons, I believe.
I don't think they said that specifically. I mean, he probably did, but I don't think he said that specifically.
Oh,
anyway, it's the K-Trons that go berserk because they've been personally programmed by the commander.
Right.
Why would he let... He must have known that the commander could command the K-Trons. Why would he let him anywhere near them if he already knew he was bad?
But they're shooting already, though, because of the pre-programming. So they...
No. They specifically activate when he says kill them all.
Oh, okay.
Their little green light turns red.
Right. Okay.
It's just a big, dumb mess. Your big action sequence,
Now, there's a big explosion, and it seems
we
like
think it's the bomb having gone off.
But what is it?
The bomb has stopped at the last second.
Right, and then something... Is it the mule's ship?
Yeah, it's just the mule ship leaving.
It leaves?
Yeah.
So, were they always planning to leave?
Yes, they were.
I see. So, they're planning to build their world inside this confined space, and then go out into space. So, they were always planning to blast free?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were.
Okay.
Once they'd got the pearls and the converter, they were going to blast free and live inside their small spaceship for the rest of history.
Right. And then somehow Valerian and Laureline managed to tie up the commander and leave him in that vacant space.
Which is open to vacuum, incidentally.
Right.
So how is he alive?
Maybe there's shields.
Yeah, maybe there is, like in Star Trek, yeah.
And they're in the little Chinese capsule.
Yep.
And
they're not... Yeah, they've left. And
he kind of proposes again. She says maybe.
She says maybe, and then he says, I want to get rid of my playlist for you. Mm-hmm. A callback to more than 2 hours, 2.5 hours earlier. And then roll credits.
Okay. Trivia.
I'll just jump right into it. Yeah. This film, as we mentioned in the episode we did on Asterix, is the most expensive French film ever made, the most expensive European film ever made, the most expensive independent film ever made.
Wow.
Its budget, you get variable figures, but including, at the very least, just for production, $180 million US.
Okay.
Probably much more than that, including marketing costs. Well over $200 million US.
Okay, so $1 million per minute. No, it's 2 hours and 20, so that didn't quite work out. Okay.
Its box office was $226 million.
Okay.
Sounds like a lot, but
not enough.
It needed to make $400 million just to break even,
right.
And needed to make sort of like $600 million to turn a decent profit.
Right.
It did not do that. It's a very significant box office flop.
Okay.
Yeah, but as mentioned, it made $62 million in China.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So how did it get made? As we said, he been wanting to make it for a while, and he decided after Avatar that he was going to make the film, and decided that he was going to raise the money independently. So there is no studio backing this picture, or is there? We'll get into that. All right. So basically, he raised a lot of the money through foreign sales.
Okay.
So that's where you go to the foreign market, foreign distributors, ask for an advance on expected profits, and they pay you for the right to distribute the film. I think the last time we talked about this was Brenda Starr.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Also with just some equity investments from other investors, but some of the investors were like the Chinese investors investing in it for the foreign sales in China. So what's the advantage of this? The advantage of this is that Besson can make the film he wants to make. He doesn't have studio notes. He doesn't have studio input.
Right.
It's going to be his unique vision. So he certainly did spend a hell of a lot of time and effort on preparing that kind of vision. I think there was 7 months worth of storyboard work. He filled a binder with hundreds of pages of character biographies, creature designs, and so on, which he then gave to the actors and told them to read. He spent 7 years, basically from when he decided to make it, 7 years worth of writing and preparation, 6,000 storyboard drawings. There was 100 days of shooting. That's fairly standard. 20 months of post-production, 950 effects technicians worked on it, and there are 2,734 computer-generated shots.
Wow.
It's huge. Alright, so, no studio and Besson's unique vision, because he raised all the money independently. Or did he? And or was there?
Okay.
I saw a claim printed in Deadline magazine that 90% of the film's budget was raised independently.
Okay.
But that was almost certainly not true.
Huh.
Probably at the most, only 60% of the budget was raised independently. The remainder was put up by Europa Corps,
Okay.
which is a production company that Luc Besson founded in 2012. He didn't run it,
Okay.
but it was one that he founded, and it was it produced his films. Produced a lot of films actually that he's involved in, things like Taken, franchise, and some other films. Transporter, I think, as well.
Okay.
But EuropaCorp took a big gamble on this movie, this production, this French production company. Invested apparently a year's revenue in the movie. It really needed it to do well, but obviously it didn't do well. And that company has since it went bankrupt in the years and has since been acquired by another American company. It still exists, but it's been wholly taken over by another company. Now, how much? So EuropaCorp produced a significant portion of the budget. So presumably they have some input into the movie.
Okay.
That seems logical.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't find this in any official sources, but I did read online, specifically on Reddit, by people who claim to have been involved in the post-production and marketing of the movie, that executives from EuropaCorp were very worried about how the movie looked in its initial edits and insisted on significant changes.
Ooh, oh, interesting.
Yeah. Heavily modified, especially around the lead performances because of the lack of chemistry. Including, according to the Reddit comment I read, ADR with a different actress because they couldn't get Cara Delevingne back. This person claimed to have seen 7 versions of the film.
Wow.
With the final being worst of all, quote unquote.
Wow.
He said that these edits killed plot points and removed entire subplots.
Okay, but the problem was the lack of chemistry, which is these edits were happening because of lack of chemistry.
According to this comment, yes.
So those earlier versions had better plot but worse chemistry. Worse than what we've got.
Presumably.
Right.
But I think what has happened is that this film has been butchered in post.
Yeah.
Because we have all these things that go nowhere and strange, like the Katra doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like the commander's rant coming from nowhere. Like there being no conspiracy.
Yeah.
Like characters appearing and never reappearing.
Yeah.
Like John Goodman. There is no proof of this, but I have no difficulty believing that it might well have been what happened. I think people got spooked.
And yet, it feels like a vanity project.
It still is 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
He had free reign until the film started to look shit in post and people panicked.
Right.
But there's only so much you can do, right?
Right.
If he'd had someone... I don't know, look. If he'd had people there from the start, maybe tidying up his script, maybe saying, could you cast a different actor? We might have got a better film. It's like they got the worst of both worlds here. You got the studio panic and the out-of-control auteur. Yeah. And we've ended up... Yeah. But yeah, I mean...
Guess what? This isn't the last Luc Besson movie on the list.
Well, The Fifth Element is a cheat.
Yeah,
there's another one?
There is another one. Adele Blanc-Sec. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Well, he can be... But yeah, Look, the plot... We've complained a lot about the plot, but I think you could maybe look past it if the leads had some charisma. Yeah. I think this movie's Achilles' heel is the performances. Yeah. You need I saw a funny line in a review I read, which this film needed a Chris. You needed
a Chris Pine or a Chris Evans or a Chris Pratt?
Or a Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, Chris Hemsworth, right. Got it.
You needed a Chris. Yeah. In the title role. They could have carried it.
Yeah, you're right.
And maybe not Cara Delevingne. She doesn't really have much of a range. I mean, before this, I think she played Enchantress on the Suicide Squad movie.
Oh, yes, that's right.
From the DC Murderverse, not on our list. Yeah. But it was her performance in that was pretty much panned. Okay. And this film also doesn't seem to have done her career any favours, and she's since, I understand, mostly does modelling. Okay. Same for Dane DeHaan. He's not been... he's done a lot of TV work since this movie came out, not really headlining any movies anymore. That's pretty much it.
Okay, is it votes time?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, right. These comics are easy yay for me.
Yeah.
I only read about 5 of them. I read 5 albums, I think.
I read everything you sent me.
Yeah.
They were... Skip Volume 0. Yeah. Maybe even skip Volume 1 or... You can start anywhere. Start in the middle. God, start with Ambassador to the Shadows and the Equinox. Like with the Travelers on the Equinox or whatever it was called. Those are some really, really cool comics.
Yeah. This is...
fantastic, really.
Good. Would you put these in the space opera category?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're yes, but they're less prosaic than
Right.
straight space opera.
Right.
So this isn't like, Lensman or something.
Right.
Or something like that. This is some new wave shit.
Yeah.
Interesting alien cultures with
Yes, that's right.
strange practices, human questions, political kind of like points.
Yeah.
This is all very spirit of the 60s.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it.
Yeah. I was really into them as well. I've had a couple of good weeks of French comics.
We have indeed.
Okay, this motion picture.
It's got to be a nay.
Yeah, it's an A for me too. I was constantly impressed by the design work, although even that, I mean, you can't help but compare it to The Fifth Element and like the Jean-Paul Gaultier designs and the Mobius designs.
They're not. The costumes are pretty. Aside from those spacesuits, the costumes are nothing special.
No, but the alien designs are really good.
Yes.
I like the aliens. I like the big space city and all that kind of stuff. And the effects looked really like the CGI to me looked better than the kind of CGI that I complain about most of the time.
They spend a lot of money on the CGI.
So I like that aspect of it, but it was just so bloated and confusing.
Very, very, very confusing plot.
Yeah.
Very loose plot. Things that... how tight it was, the plot, before the execs got to it, don't know.
Yeah.
We'll never know. There's very little... There's nothing about this...
But I think part of the problem is the source material is a bit loosey-goosey too, but it's fine in comics somehow. Yeah. To throw them into a hut where they go through some sort of shamanistic ritual and come out as pacifists...
Just throw it in there. Yeah.
...is something that seems just par for the course in a Valerian comic book.
Well, you could throw that in. Nothing like that happens in this movie, though.
No, that's right.
It's very straightforward.
Yeah.
There's no whimsical elements, not really.
No, in fact, though, the interaction with the Wattos is really indicative of that. It's taking the whimsy out of it.
Yeah.
Let's have her point a gun at these people instead of pooping out these pearls that they like, these Ibibi pearls.
Yep. So she'll just threaten them at gunpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah. Nay.
Okay, well, let's go to adaptation then.
Okay. First of all, right, before we vote, shall we hear from Luc Besson and some of his opinions on adaptation? Okay. He has a lot to say about adaptation in the introduction to these volumes.
Yes.
He says, you can read a graphic novel in half an hour, whereas a film is usually between 1.5 and 2 hours long. Or longer, I added. So there comes a point where I had to blow up the story in order to develop the book's themes another way. In a film, the timing is set. A minute is the same for every spectator in the room. Time passes at the same speed for everyone. You can't take your time as you would with a book. A comic, it's different. When you finish reading the right-hand page, you can take a last look at the left-hand one before turning it. Yeah, that's true. The reader can bask in the pictures and the text. They can fully savour them one last time before moving on to the next page. In film, the spectator has a clock that goes tick-tock for 2 hours and they can't stop it. It's a whole difference between freestyle and imposed style. He says, though, he tried to stay faithful to the comics as much as possible, but he had to expand a lot of things, dialogue especially. So why did he choose Ambassador of the Shadows? He says, some volumes had more potential than others. There are stories that I absolutely love, but you would have a hard time making it into a 2-hour film. Ambassador of the Shadows is interesting for a screenwriter. It's structured like a police investigation, and that leaves room for suspense and mystery. Okay, here's the smoking gun. Another interesting aspect lies in the relationship between Valérian and Laureline. The plot relies on the love between them.
Huh? Okay.
Well, because she pursues him.
She pursues him for 30 pages that he's missing from the comic.
Because of the depth of her care for him.
Yeah.
For the filmmaker to say the plot relies on the love between the two main characters, and then you have two actors.
Yeah.
This is a big problem.
Yeah.
Big problem. So yeah, every week I complain. We talk about adaptation, and I say, adaptation. You just have to completely reinvent a thing to adapt it. So many differences between these two mediums. But then he says, well, I think the most important thing in this story is going to be the love between the two characters. By that metric, this film is a disaster of an adaptation, and I am going to vote nay on that.
Yeah. No, I don't think that he got the characters right at all. I think there's a lot of this is about this bureaucracy and conspiracy in the command center of Alpha City, which the comics that I read were not about that.
No, No. Authority figures tend to be an obstacle or a inconvenience for Valerian and Laureline in the comics, but not an antagonist.
Yeah.
They're just sort of something that they're a bit impatient
There's
with.
not even a ton of interaction with them.
No, I mean, no. But I mean, that ambassador or that protocol guy, they're just sort of there to be, they're just a bit of a speed bump.
Yeah.
They're not the villains. We don't have villains like that.
Yeah.
Here, we really needed, this film's such a mess. Like, it could have been really cool. We could have...
Yeah, 100%.
The mules should have been... We should not have seen the mules again until the climax.
Yeah.
They should have been... Maybe there should have been some time travel business involved, and the mules are the ones that built Alpha Station or something, and they'd been living in it all along, and were waiting for the converter to be brought back, so kind of like a time loop or something. Anything like that would have been really rad and would have felt really Valerian and Laureline. But instead we get this really banal... Bring MacGuffin to point B. We know exactly who's behind it. We know exactly what they want from the start. The only thing we didn't know is how they got there, and we get that in a big info dump, a big 5-minute info dump at the end. That's a bad movie, and that's not a good adaptation of the kind of craziness of these comics. A final point from Besson about fan complaints.
Okay. Okay.
We had this last week too.
Yeah, we did.
Pretentious filmmakers complaining about the fans' movie Oblivion. Anytime a comic-based film is made, the fans who think of themselves as the guardians of the temple speak up and denounce every little thing they see as problematic. But they can come. I belong to the fandom too. I've loved Valerian and Laureline since I was 10. I've earned my badge, same as them. Anyway, you'll always find at least 3 or 4 diehards who claim the film's a bust. It's got to make you smile. There were significantly more than 3 or 4 people that thought this film was a bust. I think it's everybody, actually.
Yeah.
One final matter.
Okay.
We haven't yet done Frenchest thing.
Oh, yes, of course.
In this French movie.
I think it's got to be the butt shot, the opening butt shot.
A literal supermodel walking in lingerie.
Yeah, you don't even see her face first. The first thing you see of her is behind. Yeah.
And mild sexual assault also in that first scene.
Yeah.
At this point, it might be worth pointing out that Luc Besson has been Me Too'd.
Yep.
And his constant forcing himself on his lead actresses is now a matter of public record.
Yep. It's not the worst pig or the last pig we'll have on the show directing or starring in these movies. We've had plenty before, and there'll be more to come.
Well put.
Okay, so please like, rate, review, subscribe. Please contact us through the email address in our show notes, or you can send us a DM on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads. You can leave a comment on YouTube. You can join our Reddit. And please join our Patreon. We have a new Patreon subscriber.
Amazing. Welcome.
Yes, Joe, who has sometimes emailed me about various things. So, you don't even have to subscribe. Even if you just want to do 1 month, it's fine. It helps. Actually,
come on, don't give Joe all the power. He has all the power now.
Yes.
He could make us do anything.
That's right.
Anything.
And we are talking about, we're coming up at 3-year anniversary. We're talking about content for the Patreon. It might happen.
This is a big step, guys.
Yeah.
Kamara's actually entertaining the idea of doing cheat episodes on films that are not strictly based on comic books. This is a big breakthrough for him.
Yeah.
You need to support him.
Yes. So that could happen. Please join our Patreon and make that happen. Also, besides contacting us all those ways, you can send us stuff. We got an amazing care package from John Bergen last week of all these vinyls and CDs from Lakeshore Records.
Incredible. Thank you so much, Mr. Bergen.
And the other announcement before we go is that we are on Deconstructing Comics this week talking about Fantastic Four First Steps. So if you want to hear our take on an MCU movie, that is the only place to
You won't hear it here.
It is out there right now. Okay, next week we are going to do some Marvel because we're going to start our Terrence Stamp tribute. We're going to start with Daredevil. We're going to do Elektra the week after that. I don't remember what year this came out. So we'll be reading the Daredevil Visionaries trade paperbacks. There were 3 by Frank Miller. Definitely, I'm going to try to do 2 and 3, which is a lot of comics. Maybe we'll only get through volume 2. But look around online, you can find those. Daredevil Visionaries, volumes 2 and 3. Those are the key, I think, for that particular movie. Any other setup we need to do for that?
No.
Ben Affleck, this Ben Affleck one? Yep.
Ben Affleck's in it, yeah.
Yeah.